like to ask you to please take a seat. And I thank you very much for being here. First of all, I would like to thank you all for making it all the way to here, given the rain, the traffic jam, whatever else we had over the last 24 hours in Milan. So really, it's an important achievement already. And I would like to welcome you all to the second edition of the Exploring Innovation Opportunities in the Italian Landscape, which we are proud to organize alongside with our friends at J&J Janssen at Federated Innovation here at Mind. And so I would like to call on the stage the two landlords and the hosts of this place where we are, Milano Mind Innovation District Living Lab. Igor De Biasio, the head CEO of our Expo, and Diego Valazza, who is the Business Development Director of Lend-Lease. Thank you very much, and please do give a welcome introduction to us.
So thank you and welcome everybody. Benvenuti a tutti. So our Expo is the owner of this land. So it's a state-owned company. So welcome also from our shareholders, so the Ministry of Economy and Finance, the Lombardy region and the Municipality of Milan and Municipality of Rho. So Mind is a very special area. It's where innovation happens. We are building a city where we had Expo 2015. It will be a city for 70,000 people living and working here. We have already here the hospital Galeazzi Sant'Ambrogio already opened, working. We have Human Technopole, the most important research center in Italy. And the University of Milan is going to come very quickly here, and 2025 will be the year where we will have 20,000 students and researchers from the scientific faculties of the Statale University of Milan. Moreover, half of this site is for private companies like Bio4Dreams, like Illumina, like AstraZeneca, and all the others that are coming. So we are very proud of Mind, the Milan Innovation District, where we are now, because this will be one of the most important innovation districts in the world. So thank you everybody for being here and have a nice day.
Well, thank you everyone. Welcome to Mind. I'm Diego Valazza. I'm the Business Development Director of Lend-Lease. Lend-Lease is the private component of this public-private partnership. So we are in charge of the development of all the buildings, but more important, the entire ecosystem that I'm going to show you very, very soon. So first thing, welcome to all the people that have been already here in some other occasion. Or for the very first time, and welcome back to the people that are here, let's say, in a more continuous way, which is the most important part of this ecosystem. And I'm very happy to have you, and thank you to Bio4Dreams for the second year in a row. They are capable of summarizing in the perfect way what are we doing here. So exploring opportunities in the Italian landscape of innovation, and this is exactly what we infrastructure and what we are doing on a daily basis. This will be a city based on innovation, but more important, it will be a city based of what in Italian is intrattenimento, and it's quite difficult to translate it in English because in English could be entertainment, but it's slightly different. I prefer the Italian term because intrattenimento refers to keeping in, and it's related also to talent first and most important. So we want talent to come back here and to stay here for, let's say, expanding and promoting this ecosystem, starting from Mind to, let's say, all the rest of the world. So I really hope to see you again. For sure you will enjoy the rest of the day. And please just contact me for more information, and I'm more than happy to give you all the details. So have a nice day.
Thank you very much. So a couple of just technical terms. What we decided to do today here is to give a focus, a spotlight on different ways innovation in Italy is being carried out. We're going to have a session dedicated right now to the IRCCS, the research clinical hospital in Italy, presenting some cases of success and some innovation strategies that are being developed currently throughout different examples of this type of institutions, which is very peculiar for the Italian ecosystem. We're going to have a session dedicated to the regions, some examples from Italian regions and provinces which have dedicated strategies for innovation that are becoming important in terms of critical mass for the Italian ecosystem. We are then going to have a session with our friends from the Eastern European ecosystem, with which we share many common traits in terms of how we handle and how we manage innovation. And then we're going to have a pitch session from some startups coming from these different ecosystems. And I'm also welcoming all the people connected online, because today we hope to have, just like last time, people connected from Europe, and in the late part of the morning also from the US. So having said that, I would like to give the stage to Dr. Venturi, from President of FIT, and we are basically starting a session, so I will let you introduce all of the different people of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. I just call also the other guest. Ci mettiamo qua, no? Dottor Lombardi. Good morning, welcome for this session, and I hope to present this, and we start with the Dottoressa Spinardi to talk about TTO for IRCS, an example of joint from 4 public IRCCS in Lombardy, and you can start.
Thank you very much, Alessandro, and thanks to all the organizers to give us the opportunity to present some very peculiar initiative projects in order to develop the technology transfer within the research hospital. The acronym is IRCCS, which is very difficult to translate, but in Europe we are recognized as research hospital. We are not a university research hospital. We are a legal entity different from that, and that's the reason why we try to propose interesting model to overcome some critical issue. So if I can have the, am I? Okay, thank you. I'm Laura Spinardi. I'm the head of technology transfer at Policlinico Maggiore, a public IRC. Let's see if I manage. No, this is the pointer. Okay. Let me start. Okay, I can stand. Well, that would be okay. Okay. I use this one. Which one? This one? Better. Okay. We overcome some technical issue. This is going to fall. Not a tall one. Okay. Ready to go. Let me start with setting the floor and setting the scene about some critical issue related to our specific field. We do have the need to have multiple competencies in the biomedical system, meaning also different competence and experience in the professional that are dealing about this issue. We do have to have the need to strengthen, since the very beginning of our project, the networking and the collaboration with the stakeholders that are going to be involved in technology transfer in the biomedical fields. And also, for this reason, we need to facilitate this interaction. And I think MIND would be the perfect place where to foster and actually develop this. And also, we do need to communicate and to interact better. So many issues. I summarize with some hashtag. Where do we start from, and when do we begin to build a new system? We decided that we could work on the first one, that is team working. And we had the idea to propose a joint technology transfer office among the 4 public IRCs in Lombardy. And that's turned out in a project that got the support from the region Lombardy, but also very important, we had the endorsement, the full endorsement from the presidents, the general director, and the chief scientific officers of our institution. So, Policlinico Maggiore, Fondazione Questa, Fondazione Policlinico San Matteo e Istituto Nazionale Tumori decided to carry on this project called, of course, TTO4IRCS. We do have a website you can browse easily. And basically, we started the project in 2020 with the endorsement of as I said, also from Region Lombardy, that not only was supporting us with the idea, but also provided us the support, the financial support. The project is twofold. One is a scientific project on advanced therapy called First for Cure, and then we had the technology transfer project. What happened next? We work on several points that we wanted to increase, and as I said, we wanted to focus on teamwork, and that's the reason why we decided that first of all we had to set in place shared policies, good standard operation procedures, and we built all that, and one brick after the other. Now we are having this kind of wall that is not going a barrier, but is going to be a solid basement on which we are going to go ahead from here. And this is just a list of aims that we achieved, and I will also focus on the fact that we would like to be a unique reference point for our stakeholder, meaning we all play the same games, we all have the same way of interacting, so whoever is going to knock on our door, we will give them the same answer without trying to understand which is the complicated network or complicated rule behind the public system. Because unfortunately or luckily, we are a public institution, so we have to oblige to some important rules, which are sometimes slowing down our activity. Said so, we have, as I mentioned, a website. This is just a screenshot from that website. Important figures in terms of people working on technology transfer, project and patent family, impact factor, clinical trials, but mostly we are an excellent area, and this is just a list of all the many area we are going to be a key opinion leader on that. This is basically a roadmap, and why I like to show you this. Because it's a long way to go, and to build value, it takes time. But it also takes the support. If there is a will, there is a way of doing that. When I started, they were considering like a crazy idea to have a technology transfer offer set in a public hospital. We are 15 years later from that starting point. That is 2007, when the first TTO was established in a public research hospital. At that time, the university system was already landed on technology transfer activity and actually doing a lot of nice things. We were just approaching the words. And then after Cagranda Maggiore, Tumori came, and then Questa, and last but not least, San Matteo di Pavia in 2007. In 2020, TTO4IRCS started the project, is ending next month, but I think that was a great example to set the ground for another important project that just started in 2022, that is Fondazione Innovazione e Trasferimento Tecnologico. That's a legal entity. Before that, TTO4IRCS was just a joint project between four institutions. Now we have a legal entity, and I'm just giving you a hint on that, because then more news will come, and you will hear about this important project. Fondazione Innovazione e Trasferimento Tecnologico has been founded by the 4 public research hospital and Area Expo with full endorsement again from Region Lombardy. We are going to have a place here in mind, so very, very happy to join this exciting and inspiring area. And that's it. I'll stop here because this is a brand new day and you will hear more about this new story, hopefully soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Laura. This is an interesting case study. And now, Dr. Lombardi, the head of TTO of Galeazzi Hospital, Research Hospital, right?
Not exactly. I'm the head of a research lab in our hospital. Yes, and indeed, what I want to tell you is that actually, what's innovation and we are talking about innovation and what is innovation for an hospital. Innovation for our hospital is to build the hospital of the future, so rethinking some aspects, humanity, technologies and management and sustainability. And the management of this hospital decided to stay here, to stay in mind, because this is the right environment to do that. And just a very brief story. The project of the new hospital that you can see right here on the left side. It started on February 2018. The work beginning in June, and then on 22nd August of last year, the hospital was fully operative. But this hospital, the innovative hospital, should be something for all needs. And two hospitals joined together, the Galeazzi Orthopedic Hospital and Clinica Sant'Ambrogio. They put together all the competencies with high specialty excellencies, orthopedics, cardiovascular diseases, neurosurgery. But actually, by completing all the field of medicine, this is not just a merge of the two hospitals. This is much more. So the innovative hospital is something that can treat the patient all around 3,060 degrees. Sustainability, the future is in sustainability, and this is a sustainable building with specific features that make it an example for other new buildings of this kind, so other new hospitals. So reduction in consumption, eco-friendly materials, and the use of sustainable sources for energy. This is something, but actually the hospital is not just, it is not just a container. It should be something that contains. And what is innovation in the hospital? Innovation is research. These two words are the same thing. At least I'm a researcher, so for me, research is innovation. Innovation is research, of course. And we are an IRCCS, so a research hospital, acknowledged by the Italian Ministry of Health. We got this accreditation in 2006, thanks to our scientific director, Professor Banfi, that guided us through the years. And 4 lines specific, because the hospital is accredited by the Ministry of Health for the disease of the muscle and bone, so of the locomotor apparatus. And line 1, regenerative medicine and tissue engineering. Line 2, surgical, pharmacological, and technological innovations. Line 3, physiatry and bioengineering applied to orthopedics, of course. And line 4, biochemistry, genetics, physiology, and correlated systemic pathologies. These are our focuses. All these focuses are, of course, directed toward the patient, the patient with problems, with issues with the bone and the muscle, and the muscles. 3 main areas, because innovation means I have to do research and I have to bring it to the bench side. This is not just, let's say, something that we heard every time. This is the reality, because an IRCCS must do this kind of research. It should be applied. So three main examples. One is the musculoskeletal regenerative medicine, a big area of our research, where the study on regenerative approaches in lab are directly, I can say, because we have a clinical center that drives this research directly to the patient. So this is a reality. We do this. And this is the lab from Laura De Girolamo, and the lab head from Matteo Moretti. This is the cell and tissue engineering lab. Even in this case, products from the lab are directly used for the patient. I mean, not just implants, but the idea that are developed into this kind of projects are directly used to take let's say, decision right in the next future. And finally, my lab. We talk about biomarkers, so it's something that we have to discover something new to be applied directly to the patient in order to decide how to act on this patient, and let's say to enter in the world of personalized medicine. And another way that we approach directly to the patient is the service. So we can provide service, transcriptomic service, proteomic services, metabolomics, and breathomics, in order to directly have something that can give information to the clinics and eventually even to the patient. So a service from research that is for research, for clinics, and for patients. And the last way to do innovation is to do networking. And actually, our hospital is involved in two big networks of IRCCS. The one is the IRCCS Aging Network, so devoted to aging diseases, and the other one is the musculoskeletal network. So two big topics that are treated within a big network of hospitals, of research hospitals in Italy. So that's all. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lombardi, for this presentation. And now, Dottoressa Belfiore, the head of R&D of Neuromed IRCCS.
Thanks very much to our president, and especially to Bio4Dreams, Fabio Bianco, the sponsors, and my district for organizing and inviting us to this meeting. It is an honor and a pleasure for me to be here representing one that can be considered a very small institute, and probably a case study itself inside the IRCCS network. For our foreign guests, further information that can be useful is that this network involves at the national level 54 organizations. And just 19 are only in this region, 44 center northern Italy, in the south only 10. But they are the most important model of governance of healthcare at national level, because as we will see, it is provided based on research. So it is quite unique at international level. I will shortly introduce our organization, where we started since 1983, and how we are now working on fostering research towards innovation in order to have a real booster for international competition. As I mentioned, Neuromed has been working as a research hospital since 1983, so 40 years in a very small region. I'm sure if I tell you we are in Pozzilli, nobody, even the Italians guessed, can guess where is it. Okay, I'm sure. And if I add the information that we are in Molise region, Probably for the Italians will be clear where it is, but not for the foreign guests again. One of the smallest one, because the region counts only 300 inhabitants, so less than this quartier probably. And my district, there are more people involved. And our specialization, because the recognition by the Italian Ministry of Health is based on a monothematic sector, or can be also polythematic, like hospitals, public hospitals, with my colleagues present attending this conference. The recognition was on neuroscience, so neurological diseases based on neurodegenerative, vascular, and oncologic determinants. Few numbers just to have an idea of where are we now. The structures counts 300 beds, because an IRCCS has to have an hospital, as I said. But the most important part of a research hospital is a research center. Neuromed has 3 research centers operating again in the neuroscience sector. And probably one key factor that can be really valuable is the attraction of patients from other regions. The highest rate within the IRCCS network is provided by Neuromed with 86%. So out of 100 patients, 86 are coming from other regions. You can have an idea of also the volume of numbers of exams and whatever related to clinical data. And also the research, because as my colleague already mentioned, research must be verified yearly by the Ministry of Health. So you have to provide an important production of scientific research. We have actually more than 200 researchers providing important results of research with, normally it is counted in impact factor, so a very important volume of impact factor, but this is possible with a great and relevant research expenditure. On the contrary of my colleague, I didn't tell you that Neuromed is a private organization. So this means that the effort can be also a little bit more difficult, especially if we consider, again, the region where we are and all the difficulties related to this position. Starting from the philosophy and the methodology of a research hospital, the network now counts 27 hospitals because the property decided to invest outside the region and again try to provide healthcare services based on research. So the most important part are the research centers that spread off research results to the hospital, so to the bedside, and from the bedside results come back to bench side in a cycle that is absolutely relevant for the improvement of research. This is just a quick overview of results from last 20 years with continuous investment inside the Neuromed group. But how we are trying to manage the big challenge, let's say, of innovation, how to foster research towards innovation in an environment where the mission is translational research, because this was the main mission, the initial mission of research hospitals, and how to arrive to innovation. I want to tell you where and how we started. Just a program. It is important that inside the research environment, you have to know exactly where you want to arrive. So start from program and involve in the program a multidisciplinary approach with a strategic partnership, possibly international ones, and taking care of technological investment. Considering our area, neuroscience, Neuromed started with a program which was totally focused on technological development. And within the technological development, imaging was the main sector as support for researchers, because especially for neurodegenerative diseases and also for brain tumor, to have instruments that are able for early diagnosis and then also for predictive, possibly, pathways, you need to have this kind of opportunities. But inside the research center, you need expertise that are totally different from doctors and biologists. So you need engineers, you need physics, you need bioinformatics, you need biomedical engineers, a contamination. So other languages that can add to the abilities of researchers the possibility to have a common pathway to be developed to foster innovation. And so we choose as a case for today just one, PET technologies. They are an incredible instrument for fostering this kind of development. And we did it with the Guangdong University of Science and Technologies of Wuhan. It was a partnership started in 2017 when one was absolutely unknown everywhere. Of course, now it is not for something that can be considered nice, but they had all the knowledge, absolutely interesting for us, to join our lab and so start up with this application. We chose something that was absolutely useful for the neuroscience sector. So trying to verify the possibility to improve these technologies and arrive to a high sensitivity useful to early diagnosis or hopefully also the predictive pathways. And I don't want to, well, so we concentrated on preclinical PET, digital brain PET, and something that is quite disruptive, that is the digital PET helmet. You must see something like an hairdresser. I will show you. This is the design that was developed with our researchers. So Professor D'Ascenzo is in charge of the innovation department inside Neuromed. And arriving from the prototype, what is really particular are the sensors inside that are completely miniaturized if you consider a normal PET inside a research hospital. These are just few pictures, and then we arrive here. Very comfortable if you consider patients with neurodegenerative diseases, for Parkinsonian, for example, but also for brain tumors that normally are for children. And so they need something that it cannot be considered as too much, not really invasive, but well, not really comfortable. And just to go over, and considering the multidisciplinary approach and the contamination environment, speaking different languages, we try to create a community where people coming from all sectors, so not really concentrated only on healthcare, but coming from every sector, just interested in sharing their research and innovation results, we simply discuss about the possibility to develop common projects. And so the PET technologies from the neuroscience sector arrived to the agriculture. Just very, very fast, I will show you, because a group of researchers coming from several universities in Italy, they posed the problem on how to investigate on metabolism of a plant without cut them and bring within the lab, but just to have something, a system that can be used on site. And so the PET system, so miniaturized, can arrive on site with a portable AgriPET, which is already patented, and the first prototype is currently developed. We are included within the Eurobioimaging S3 program with this platform. We consider all the technologies involved. I want to thank you, of course, the Department of Innovation, which brought us to these important results. And I want to just sum up telling you that according to our experience, multidisciplinary approach in a really international environment without any prejudice from the sector you are coming from can be very, very useful to foster research to innovation as a real booster for international cooperation. So thanks very much, and we can continue with our debate.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dottoressa Belfiore. And now, Dottoressa Fumagalli, the head of TTO Office of European Institute of Oncology.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. And first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for this kind invitation. It's really a pleasure and honor to be here and have the opportunity to present and to give you some highlights on the innovation which is ongoing at the European Institute of Oncology. So for those who do not know, European Institute of Oncology is one of the scientific IRCCS, one of the Italian Institute for Research and Care Hospitalization. It was born in 1994, actually from an innovative model that Professor Umberto Veronesi wanted to adapt to the public health. So the idea was to found an hospital, an innovative model of hospital, by applying the principles of private management to the public health. And just, I mean, in our history, I would like just maybe to mention in the past, one of our innovation in the clinical practice for breast cancer, which was the development of the sentinel lymph node for breast cancer. And up to nowadays, I just would like to mention also that we have been recently recognized as one of the best specialized hospitals, so in oncology, around the world, the first in Europe. So yes, we do have an hospital, and we have also a research area, which is our department of the experimental oncology. So I would like also to stress that all our activities are patient-centered. So we do care, I mean, about patients, and we also believe that care is better where research is done, and we are trying now to move to position IEO as the institute where precision medicine and personalized oncology is made and provided to our patients. So I would now give you just an overview of some of the innovations that are ongoing at IEO based on this vision that we have. So Proton Center is one of this example. This is something that was really driven by our scientific director, Professor Roberto Recchi, and this Proton Center is something that will come in the very next months. So proton therapy is the most technologically advanced actually radiotherapy for personalized and precision medicine and treatment. Then we are, of course, in a digital area, also in the healthcare sector, so we really believe that data and clinical data are an asset. So this is a project that was led by our Chief Information Officer. It was the creation of a clinical data platform, so a sort of lake, so a centralized digital healthcare data lake, which is able to collect in a structured way all the data, the clinical data that have been collected by our clinicians in the over 25 years, and will be constantly fed by the new data. And this would really be an asset to make all those data available in a structured way for researchers and clinicians. Then moving on, also this is something that is really a big shift that we observe so far at IEO. So we are moving from a traditional biobank that we have at IEO and that has been developed 10 years ago. So we, of course, are collecting and storing biomaterials, but we are now moving towards a digital biobank. So where we have an integration of biomolecular data coming from all these biomaterials that we collected. So here you have the number, 38,000 tissues and 10,000 biofluids so far, integrated with the digital pathology data. And this is a project that was really, was possible thanks to the efforts of Professor Nicola Fusco, which is now the director of our pathology division, and Giuseppina Bonizzi, who is the executive coordinator of the biobank. Of course, as you can understand, this would give the possibility to have a precision medicine approach by looking for biomarkers, etc. Okay, so these were example of, let's say, institutional innovation projects. Now, I would like also, of course, as I told you, we believe that research is also fostering innovation, internal research. So this is our department of experimental oncology. We have more than 300 researchers divided by 26 research groups. Here you have the PIs, our principal investigators, which are led by Professor Pier Giuseppe Pellicci, which is the director of the research there. So this just to give you some numbers of the productivity in terms of research for the today occasion. I would like just to stress the box here in the middle. So we collected, evaluated almost 80 inventions from our researchers in, let's say, in the last 10 years, filed half of them, and partner by optioning or licensing agreement half of them. So we won also, the tech transfer office, of course, with the scientific group, also for IRC proof of concept grant, so to foster the, let's say, pre-commercialization phase of research results. And currently, our patent portfolio is made of 25 patent families. Some of them are already partner, and for some of them, we are looking, of course, for partnership opportunities. This is a very general overview, a descriptive way to present our patent portfolio, just to show you that we cover a variegate products, potential future products, so small molecules, but we do have also cell therapy approach, research tools and methods, biologicals, biomarkers, and also some other approaches like gold nanoparticles. I would say that almost all of them comes from collaboration with other research institutes. And just to conclude, of course, we are also part of big alliances like Alliance Against Cancer, EU Life, which is a European alliance of 15 research institutes focused on life science in Europe. But for today, I just would like to mention that we are, of course, well aware that the importance of being part of an innovation ecosystem in Italy. And so we are research partner of Bio4Dreams. We are also a research partner in the Seed for Innovation program, this program that was created by Fondazione Unimi and University of Milan, and two of our projects, actually 2 of the 10 that won the acceleration phase of the second edition are coming from our researchers. And we also will be part of this network of Italian technology transfer offices that is backed by Ministry of Health funds, the PNAC, complementary to the PNRR. And that's it. So with this, if you want to learn more, of course, you can go to our website. I also take the occasion to to thank the other members of the group of the TTO, so Ilaria Capozzo, Claudia Iavarone, and to mention Saverio Minucci, which is a PI at IEO, a professor, but also chairman of our TT board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Teresa Fumagalli. I think that during the lunch we can explore the opportunities, the other opportunities, also we can if you have some question or answer. During the lunch we have a networking, and so we can do it. Okay. Thank you very much. And the next session now. Thank you.
Can you aperto? Yeah. So I'm happy to introduce the next session, focus on excellence ecosystem. So I call on the floor Lydia, I call Fabrizio, and I call Alfredo and Vincent, and we should have. Okay. And we are going to have also in connection Francesco Senatore on behalf of Tuscany Life Science District. So, yes, you can see it. No, it's perfect. It's simply perfect. So, we will begin with Lydia. And I would like to ask you, Lydia, you come from a region that is very innovative. Maybe you have adopted some new recipe to be so successful in this field. And I'm very proud to have this kind of excellence in my country, because when I face other colleagues from other regions and from other countries, it seems that in Italy nothing happens, but you will be the one to tell us how can a small region like Friuli to be so successful, and how they can face innovation with an holistic approach, so involving many expertise at governmental level, like educational, like economics, like enterprise development, and how can you be successful in attracting investment? So the floor is yours, if you want to stand, or it's up to you, as you prefer.
So thank you for this question.
Yes,
is it working?
Yes,
okay.
yes, it is.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share our experience. I come from Friuli Venezia Giulia, this small autonomous region. I can say an international region. You know, we have 11 countries in a 600-kilometer radius from our region, and 9 other capitals. So this, I want to underline it because I think it's key to our success. But why do we say that we are successful? Because I don't like to say it without giving you some idea of what we mean about it. My region has decided to have an agency that provides information for all investors, and we would like to help the region to attract new investors. And this is already happening. In the last year, we tripled the percentage of foreign direct investments on the total, on the Italian total number. So this is something that is happening. Friuli Venezia Giulia in the last years has become very attractive to new investors. And life science is a prior sector for us. We know that many companies choose Friuli Venezia Giulia because they need to develop research and innovation activities, and the region considers this field like prior. So I think this is one of the key of our success. The second idea that we have is that we need an ecosystem that is really working together to be helpful for companies to establish and to cooperate in our region. I believe that companies are looking for not only for the opportunity to like build a new place to produce something, but today they are looking for the opportunity to cooperate with research centers, with researchers, and with also qualified labor force. And we not only provide this, but also provide free of charge services, public services, to help companies to find those opportunities. And my agency, the agency Lavoro in Sviluppo Impresa, it's the regional investment promotion agency, has this kind of activities. So we want to help investors, we want to help Friuli Venezia Giulia companies, but also companies coming from other countries, other regions, to come in contact with all relevant stakeholders, with all informations, and with all the opportunities that Friuli Venezia Giulia region, as an autonomous region, can provide to companies. As I told you, we tripled the percentage of foreign direct investment, and this probably in the research and development field, in the life science field, comes from our experience. And Friuli Venezia Giulia was the first region to be ranked like a strong innovator by the European Commission official ranking. This was very important for us. It's since 2019 that we are ranked like strong innovator. And I think that somehow we open the way for other Italian regions, and this is very important because the Italian ecosystem is strong, and this is the reason why we're very happy to be here in Mind, and we cooperate with Bio4Dreams very successfully. We are on the podium in terms of density of startups, of innovative startups. 3 out of 4 of our provinces are in the top 10 provinces in terms of startup density on the total of companies. And this means that even if we are like a small region, we have 1.2 million inhabitants, we still are very competitive in terms of research and development, and also in the transfer of research to companies and to startups. Today, we are very interested in showing all this potential to new investors, both at a corporate level, like companies that have already an history and are looking for cooperation, and also looking for a governmental support for their business. And on the other side, we're also looking for startups, because we strongly believe that they are very important in our ecosystem and in our economic tissue. Because corporate companies already established in Friuli Venezia Giulia are looking for cooperation with startups. And so we have some projects going on this topic. So we are trying to collect the needs from companies that are already producing in an innovative way in Friuli Venezia Giulia, and try to make it very clear for other companies and other startups and other also research groups to understand what these needs are, and so look at Friuli Venezia Giulia like an innovative platform where you can come and cooperate on these topics. Last but not least, I think we are showing something about it in the next slide. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we have already chosen the priority areas for Friuli Venezia Giulia research and development funding, like with the European funding and regional funding. We decided that these 4 development trajectories are prior for life science sector. And this means that starting from this year, we will have open calls and public-private co-projects and the possibility also to foster more research development activities in those 4, I think, quite wide areas of development. So innovative therapies, nutraceutic and functional cosmetics, innovative biomedical systems like medical devices, but not only, and all that's concerned with active and assisted living, which is a really interesting field for our region, and there is a quite outstanding network of scientific institutions that are already working on that topic. And the next slide, I give you just a short idea of don't know if okay, thank you, of our scientific network of excellence. Of course, I think that Italy is itself, in a wider sense, a scientific network of excellence. What is peculiar to our region is that starting from the 60s, the 70s, many international research centers have been founded in our cities. For example, Trieste is one of the most, holds the record at a European level in terms of density of researchers on the total inhabitants. And so there is an international ecosystem in a small and efficient region. That's the reason why I think you can consider to cooperate with us. And of course, we are at your disposal for any more detailed information, also about the opportunities that our region provides, both for company and for researchers that want to cooperate and start up or scale up their business in Friuli Venezia Giulia, specifically priority like in the life science sector. So thank you very much for this opportunity to share some data and be here, of course, to network with all you after.
So moving from the Friuli Venezia Giulia model, where facilitating, public support, networking, excellent science seems to be the main topics, let's move to Valle d'Aosta, and here we have Fabrizio Clermont, Director for the development, economic development and education and jobs. Can you tell a bit more about your vision about innovation and how your region is moving and fostering this very important area? Again, it seems with an holistic approach.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You understand? Yes? No? Ah, okay. Thank you. My English is very bad, so I have my assistant. We are the smallest region in Italy, so we have some realization, but very small realization. The health and life science is a part of our smart specialization strategy. What includes excellent mountain, sustainable mountain, smart mountain. In sustainable mountain, there is the health, with topics personalized, precision and predictive medicine, biomaterials, biotechnologies and technologies for early diagnosis, nutraceutics, nutrigenomics and functional foods, and technologies for mountain medicine, because we are a mountain region. So, in this area, technological area, we have an achievement, an important achievement for a small region, which is the research center dedicated to personalized preventive and predictive medicine, called CMP3VDA, which this center was created in 2020 by Italian Institute of Technology in collaboration with the University of Aosta Valley, the City of Health and Science of Turin, and Astronomical Observatory of Aosta Valley, and Enterprise Engineering hub. The objective is to sequence 1,000 genomes for 5 years, every year, of patients with a disease in oncology, neurodegenerative, neurodevelopmental, and transplanted fields, in collaboration with a hospital of Aosta. The center is located in Aosta and is founding by 20 million euros, so it's an important investment for the administration, because 12 million euros is public contributions. The center is located in Aosta with a laboratory of about 450 square meters and has equipment, important equipment, a Novasec 6000 sequencer, a nanopore sequencer, a biobank in the Aosta Hospital, a high performance computer storage with 100 terabyte storage located in the engineering hub in Aosta Valley. We have 21 senior and junior researchers, 7 persons of staff, and 4 technicians. Important, we have 1,000 genomes sequenced in this year, at this moment. So another important achievement for our small region is a pre-commercial public procurement in the telemedicine for the treatment of chronic patients with heart disease and hypertensive subject. The telemedicine is important because we are a mountain region. The tender was awarded to GPE. GPE is an enterprise in the health system. We have the first result, a map display of pathology, a virtual assistant for the clinician, a platform to take in charge of the patient. This is the present. For the future,
you listen me? Okay. Good morning. So this is Aosta Valley picture. Okay. Okay. Ecco. Sorry. So, according to the fact that we are a real little region, a mountain region, that we are very few people, few inhabitants, more or less 100,000, maybe less. We asked Bio4Dreams to make an analysis for our department according to the sector that we are interested in, so health, life science. And this analysis give us some suggestion, and the project fields are many ones, but in particular, we are interested, according to this analysis, to innovative approaches for citizen health. So again, telemedicine, personalized medicine, drug discovery and secondary prevention, and wellness and nutraceuticals. So we have been suggested to go towards particular activities, and these are creation of field tests for innovative application of solution closer to the market entry by financing collaborative experimental development project, and enhancement of research projects currently under development in the region with entities from other national, international ecosystem, and then proof of concept projects. So the first activity we've decided to carry on is a call that we called R&D Aggregations Health. And this is really recent because the analysis is of about few weeks ago. And this call has the purpose of promoting the implementation of industrial research and experimental development projects. So the point is always research and development. And the call intends to promote two things: the collaboration between companies and research centers, of course, for the development of applied research project in this area, in this field. The establishment of aggregations, which is really important, especially for a small region like Aosta-Valle. And these projects are coordinated by a subject. The subject has to develop training, dissemination, and technology transfer activities among all the partners. And this development involves, of course, human resources in research projects, and we thought about apprentices, because it's very important to attract people also, specialized at a high level by embarking on professional path in the research sector. This is what we thought to do according to the fact that I repeat again and again, we are really a small region. We have one university. We don't have a wide landscape around, so we often collaborate outside with other regions. Piemonte is obvious, the closer, and if it's possible, abroad also, but this we will be, maybe. Thank you.
So thank you. It seems that the common thread of this panel are mountains, no? So, and that innovation is very sparkling in mountain regions. So I'm happy to leave the floor to Vincent Mouroy on behalf of Neutech Park. I've been told about Neutech Park Dream a few years ago by a professor that is in charge of the CRIS study, so a population study very interesting that the area and at political level is supported and funded. And which are the dream? How did you translate the dream of an innovation hub in this new park, and which are the goals you are going to reach in the next year? Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you for the question. Thank you for inviting me, representing Neutech Park. Also nice also to be here at the birth of Bio4Dreams and Mind. We are also a child, we are a toddler, so the Neutech Park exists since 2017, so we're also quite young. NOI is very nice as a name also, so it stands for Nature of Innovation, which I'll explain a bit. NOI is a nice word also in Italian, it means we, so we are doing things together, not alone. That's our park. And of course you know that our region is bilingual, it's also German. NOI, phonetically, it's new, so we are working on the new things. What you see here is just the front side of our technology park at Bolzano, also a mountain area, so the region of Alto Adige in Italian, or South Tyrol in English. I know we were small, but I didn't know that we were bigger than Molise. So that shows again that less people know Molise in Italy. So Molise, I understood, 300,000 inhabitants. We have 500,000 approximately, and the city of Bolzano has 100,000. What we see here is an old aluminum plant. So that was a very important aluminum plant in the 50s, 60s, the second biggest in Italy. Why? Because we have a lot of hydropower, of course, from the mountains, water, generating energy. And of course, there was then the aluminum crisis, and the site stand idle since the 80s. And the province made a lot of thoughts, what are we going to do with that big site in the middle of the industrial park of Bolzano? And it was transferred into a science and technology park since 2017. And also very important, so we are small, and our strategy is specialization. So we cannot do a lot of things. We have to do few things, and the few things that we are doing, we have to do them well, and based also on some competences that we have. So I'm responsible of innovation management and tech transfer of the park. So everything is also in the name. That is really defining also our mindset. Everything is really very much focused on sustainability, but we really live it daily basis. And we look also to nature. Nature shows us a lot of ways how to renovate, how to replace the old by the new. And that is a big inspiration for us. So as every park, I would say important thing is to network, to bring persons together. So we have also startups, meanwhile, so 28, 30 startups. We have also companies, more than 60s, locals, but also international companies come to us for the reasons that will follow. We have University of Bolzano also there with faculties, and we have also the EURAC, which is the European Academy, which is more doing applied research, especially in the energy field, sustainable energy, but also in the biomed, that I will also explain with the Questa study. And we have also a research institute, which is called Limburg, which is focused on the agriculture. So, which are our fields? And then I go more in detail. So we are focused on green tech, especially, food technologies, automotive automation, which you will maybe ask, automotive in Alto Adige. Well, yes, we have more than 200 companies working in automotive in Alto Adige. 20 of those are quite big. And what maybe you do not know is that the electric Fiat 500, the electrical motor, is produced by a company in Alto Adige. And we have also digital, with a special focus also, which is on open data, free software, which is not something that a lot of, let's say, technology parks have as a focus. I won't go into the details of all of them because the focus is mainly here biotech, biomed. So I will go more into the detail of the house there on the upper right. So here you see from the other houses, you see the green, the digital, the automotive automation. We identified in each from those strategic houses and technology fields 3 specialization areas where we are already strong and where we want to develop ourselves further, and where we want really to be also seen as a specialist and a reference point, at least in Italy, but also in Europe, and that is also sometimes already the case in certain areas like the green area. Important now is the food and health. So what are the focuses in the food and health? First of all is the raw material side and the products, which is more so the raw material in the agriculture, also the quality of the elements, also focusing on the byproducts, so assuring that byproducts are being reduced as much as possible and also reused if possible. That's the focus area of our research center of Limburg. The middle area is optimal processing and fermentation. That is a lot of capabilities we have there of the University of Bolzano. Which also maybe is not known is that we have the most referenced professor worldwide in fermentation. He is in Bolzano. Attracts a lot of international companies, and we are working in a lot of projects around fermentation, and we will set up soon also a competence center linked with fermentation. And then we have the right side, which is more the focus of today, I would say. It's the omics and precision health, which I will explain a bit further. So what is nice here, which I think not everyone has at least, is that if you look to the 3 pillars, we have the complete flow from the raw material, quality of the raw material, also the taste in it, how you process it, and also how it will have an effect on the health of people. And that is something I think that is quite unique, that we have that entire cycle. Very important is that the park is not only a park with offices and people. We also invested a lot in infrastructure. There are a lot of labs. In total, we have 48 labs in all those structures, which are still growing, by the way. And here's only a list of labs that we have that can be used in each of those pillars for research to do their research work, but also for companies and startups to use those labs, also eventually alone if they can use the machinery, or we accompany them. That is the new Institute of Biomedicine, part of the park that has been opened last year in June. And by the way, talking about openings, 6th of May, we have a new technology park, Neutech Park, that will be opened in Brunico, with as focus automotive automation and sustainable manufacturing. So going to the biomedicine. So our focus is especially precision health. So going away from disease care and always more and more into healthcare. And the best way to do that also is on the food level. What kind of competences do we have? We have, especially in the biomedicine department of the Institute, we have that capability to do dynamic population studies, I will explain a little bit more with one slide what is so special about it. And it's important is the word dynamic. So those are people that are available. Also, if companies want to test something, we can go back to them and do things and have the data back. The development of cell models, health data science, so how you handle the data of the health data, let's say, that's a competence that we have. Overall services and also biobank. With the biobank, through the biobank, we have also a lot of things that we can do with it. So what is the Questa study? What is so special about it? So there's in Alto Adige, there's a valley, it's called Val Venosta, and what is so special about it? The population over the centuries was quite isolated. It's not anymore the case now. And that had as a consequence that the genetic material of the people living there in general, there's very less noise on it. So it's, and we started already in 2012, if I can read well, with gathering all the data of 13,000 people living there. And they are still being updated while we go. And they have a very high quality and also, like I said, less noise, which is a good base of data to try out things and to see differences, how the impact is. And we also already have foreign companies, big companies, also pharmaceutical companies, who together with us do some trials and analysis based on that data. Here we can see in general what kind of data we have. We have health data. I don't go too much in detail now. So those are the data that we are measuring on that population and remeasuring it on not a yearly basis, bi-yearly basis, and we can go back to them if we do some studies. So we have the area of the precision health that I explained. So we try to find out, for example, with fermentation, developing new elements of food, seeing how that food has a health impact on the people, using the data that we have from the population. So with that food biotics, we have then also the entire cycle, like I explained, from the agricultural science with the Research Institute of Limburg, over the food technology with Amix and so on, and the fermentation, University of Bolzano, and with the biomedicine, the population study from IRAC, the European Academy, we can cover the entire flow. And I just wanted to end, I think I'm becoming too long, I'm just that's my last slide. It's kind of a call to action. What kind of use cases could be interesting for whoever is here in the room, and we can discuss it and during the break. So with all the competences that we have here listed on the left, we can help you to do intervention studies. Yeah? So we have 1 million samples in the biobank. If you need that, we are there. We can do that. We have also capabilities in working on imputation service. So at the end, working on just a part of the genome and generating a lot of information of that part of the genome that is of interest for you, which leads to quicker results and less cost also to do genetic analysis. And we have a lot of samples of customized cell models, more than 13,000. Maybe one of them could be of any use for you. So those are 3 kind of use cases that we can eventually discuss afterwards. So that is what we try to do in the small Alto Adige, South Tyrol.
Last, again from another mountain area, so on behalf of the Industry Trade Association of Trento, we should have remotely connected. Are you there, Alfredo?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can't hear you. Oh,
can
okay.
you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thanks.
So Alfredo will cover the topic, explaining how a strategic area like the one in Trento with a peak of scientific excellence and expertise could somehow have this connection with the industry. So how do you manage innovation sourced in your area? Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you to all of you, and especially for the invitation to Bio4Dreams. So it's a pleasure for me to be here and to shortly describe also the Trentino innovation ecosystem where we are located. Indeed, I am here in the figure of Confindustria Trento, the local industrial association, but I am also involved as an entrepreneur and also in the ecosystem as president of a private startup accelerator. The most important one is Industrial, and we are proud to say that we are collaborating with Bio4Dreams and discussing about important synergy. So just to spend some words and numbers on the Trentino ecosystem. Again, we are a small area in Italy. Again, we are a mountain area. As you know, Trentino is in the Dolomites area. We are again a very small part of Italy, more or less 1% of the geographical area is Trentino, and also 1% of the total inhabitants. We are more or less 500,000 people. So again, it's a very small part of Italy. But I can say that we have a strong mindset for innovation from a quite long period. So I want to describe you the Trentino ecosystem mainly based on four aspects, four ingredients that have been demonstrated to be fundamental to develop a successful innovation ecosystem. Again, I can say that Trentino from 3 years is the local area, the local province where we are at number one, in the position number one as number of innovative startups compared to the total number of company or citizen. So this ecosystem that is working more or less from 35 years is now producing very important results in terms of high level of innovation, number of startups, innovation coming into the companies. I am also president of the local division of the innovative companies in Trentino. These are more or less 100 companies that are growing year by year in a very efficient way. And the four ingredients I see and we see as very important are, in summary, in a very schematic way, those ones. The first, as I told you before, a strong mindset of the local area versus innovation and progress. So we started in the 80s and in the 90s to push the local community to invest resources in innovation. Not only asking this, but also demonstrating to do this as private companies, private industries. So there is a quite a long process started in the early 90s, so about 35 years ago, where the industries like the one I founded started investing a lot of money in R&D and innovation. Just to give you a rough example, my company is involved in microelectronics and sensors. And from 25 years, we are investing 20% of our turnover in research projects and innovation projects. So there was a strong input from the private world. And this was very important for the second ingredient, that is the public area. So we started investing also a lot of public money in the innovation. I can say that in the last 30 years, Trentino, the local autonomous province of Trento, invested more or less 2% of the GDP in the local area to develop this ecosystem. I will shortly describe you just later. So you can imagine that if you have a GDP of about 20 billion euro, and you invest more or less 200, 300 million euros year by year in research centers, universities, technopoles, this is very, very important. So the second ingredient was to invest public money, local money, but also with the ability, the skill to get also European money. You know that Italy is investing a lot of money in Europe, but we have not so good performance having back those money to be invested in the local area. And Trentino was quite good in this. So many of the investment were based also on European funds for regional development. At the end, we were able, as third aspect, ingredient of this ecosystem, to have a local area with a very good university, the University of Trento, very important research centers. One is called Bruno Kessler Foundation, with 300 researchers fully focused on microsystem, microelectronics, robotics, and artificial intelligence. We have a second very important research center, Edunmac Foundation, with more or less 1,000 researchers, technicians, all focused on agro-food technologies, DNA sequencing, and so on. So the agriculture and food part of the technology. And at the end, in the very last 10 years, we also decided to join the public resources and private resources to start the so-called high-tech poles, technopoles. We have two of them in Rovereto, that is a city close to Trento. These are quite big technopoles, around 100,000 square meters. One is called Mechatronic Pole, Polo della Meccatronica, and there we develop a lot of innovation on mechatronics, robotics, Industry 4.0, and so on. And the second one, Progetto Manifattura, again, same size, more or less same investment. Those two technopoles we invested as local and European money, more or less 100 million euro, are now well working, fully with full occupancy of private industries, labs, university departments, startups, and accelerator. So by sure, this third aspect was very important to develop the Trentino ecosystem. The very last one, the fourth one, is again connected to the mindset, the education. So we started understanding that to have a very good innovation level in a local area, we had to put a lot of attention on the educational side, on the cultural side. And so we started working with first level and second level schools, with the universities, but also with the communication. So information and formation to the local area, to the community, to tell how is fine, how is professionally full of satisfaction to have education in scientific and technological aspects, as well as to work in technological industries or scientific-based industries. And this was very important because, as you know, in the very last years, the I guess missing resource is the human resource. And so you can have a very good research centers or industries, but at the end, if you lack in very skilled people, young people coming into the companies or in the public bodies, you miss the most important resource. So also this aspect was very important.
Okay, Alfredo, I should stop you because we are going over time.
Good.
Thank you for your contribution and really impressive the facts and figure picture you provide us. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So we are moving towards the last panelist from Tuscany Life Science District. We are going to have Francesco Senatore on behalf of Tuscany Life Science District. Are you there, Francesco?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, strong and clear.
Okay, so thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm sorry to be the last of the session, boring everybody with my presentation. But so first of all, listening to the previous presentations, I have slightly adjusted my slides, including some figures about Tuscany. Before introducing you to TLS Foundation, I would like to share with you a few numbers about Tuscany. I hope you can see my screen.
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this is the picture of life science in Tuscany. I should say that we also have some mountains, and people are skiing at the moment in our Abetone and Apuani Alps. But on top of that, we are basically the third region in Italy in terms of biotech and life science involvement. These are the figures very quickly. More than 400 companies, more than 300 million are invested in R&D in the life science sector. We count something like 17,000 employees, and most of them working in R&D, as I said, and a pretty interesting turnover made up by some big players that we have on the territory that are Menarini Group, first of all, then Eli Lilly and GSK Vaccines and many others. So altogether, they make 8.6 billion turnover. In terms of population, I was just checking it out, is almost 4 million people living in Tuscany. What we do in Tuscany? Our mission is to support research and innovation in the life science sector, and basically we are a pretty unique example of private-public partnership. Our shareholders are mostly public. The private one are the Monte dei Paschi Foundation and bank. The most important public shareholder instead is the Toscana region. So as the name says, Fondazione Toscana Life Sciences, it's a regional initiative as well as the others that we have seen. And this is basically our model. So we act as a facilitator for the life science system in Tuscany, built around healthcare. We have followed in this year. We started in 2007, so it's already some years that we are on stage, and we are following some strategic drivers, so the smart specialization strategy and the new paradigm, not anymore so new, of precision medicine. So we are building around that all our business. What we do, we started as a business incubator in 2007, as I said, but we are now doing many other things. So we are also managing the life science regional cluster. We have a technology transfer dedicated office in Florence that is managing basically all the disclosure coming out from all the universities. Yes, I forgot to say that among our shareholders, we also have all the universities in Tuscany, so the state universities of Siena, Pisa, and Florence, in addition also the two superior schools, Normale and Sant'Anna, and the IMT in Lucca. So we have a strong connection with the academy and the universities, and this technology transfer office in Florence is basically is collecting all the IP emerging from university and research hospitals. We manage, as I said, the life science, the regional cluster, the Toscana and Pharma Device Valley project, the ITS Vita, and we represent also Tuscany in the national life science cluster called Alisei. I will not go into more details about this. These are the figures of our innovation ecosystem. So our strengths are in the facilities. So we put available to the startups and scale-up companies a number of technology platforms, top-level technology platforms ranging from microscopy, imaging, and next-generation sequencing, high-content screening, and so on. We have an animal care facility. We have BSL up to BSL-3 labs able to manage, pathogens, very, very important. And these are the figures. So we attracted so far 336 million in terms of investment in our companies and grants attracted to the territory. At the moment, we have 53 among startups, spin-off and research groups. More than 600 employees, high-qualified employees, are working around us. And just to give a figure on the activity in terms of research, scientific research, we produced since then more than 700 publications. We have four main pillars in terms of services. So incubation services, research services, business development, and intellectual property, as I said. This is a quick snapshot of our incubation history and evolution. And these are more or less the areas of expertise, which is pretty huge range of technologies, as you can see. And this is our national and international network. Of course, Bio4Dreams is among them. And I want to, to go straight to the end of my presentation, giving you just a couple of news about what we are doing. So basically, this was started 1 year before the pandemic, so 2018, 2019. We have been able to, among our activities, we, of course, one of the most important now is the operating as an hosting institution for European grants. The IRC advanced grant were the first to start, and we have the pleasure and the fortune to have two excellent scientists based in our site. One is Rino Rappuoli, the other is Guido Grandi. Both, they have been able to attract here quite important amount of money with these IRC grants. The reason why I point this out, because we also have many other projects, and one of our, in our business model, basically the attraction of European grants is one of the most important for our business. The reason to point this is because thanks to this, in 3-4 years' time, we have been able to put together a pretty important group of scientists, which is something that we didn't have before, but that now led us to a very interesting development that I'm going to tell you in a few minutes. So thanks to this first funding, we have been able to put together this MAD lab. The acronym stands for Monoclonal Antibody Development Lab, which was built around the first ERC grant, as I said before, which was pointed to the antimicrobial resistance issue, which is an important issue in the healthcare at the moment. So studying all these pathogens which cause diseases that are not, in most of the cases, curable with antibiotics, like Neisseria gonorrhoeae, coli, pathogenic strains, Shigella, Klebsiella, and so on and so forth. During the pandemic, we shifted our activities towards SARS, to COVID-19, of course. And during the pandemic, so we have been able to develop around this general, quite simple mechanism, but very difficult to put in place. So with the isolation from convalescent patients of B cells, from B cells, the isolation of specific antibodies, and then the sequencing of the antibody, and the production of monoclonal antibodies to prevent and cure the disease. Based on this, we developed, under the direction of Dr. Rino Rappuoli, this COVID project that unfortunately went up to the clinical phase of development, but was the Omicron, the latest Omicron variant, basically made our development not possible. We had to stop the development basically because this was not able to act against the new variant. But thanks to that, basically, we have been identified, Siena site has been identified as the base for the Biotechnopole, this National Pandemic Center that was funded with the state budget law 22-24. This is an initiative led by four ministries, the Ministry of Economic Development, the Ministry of Economics and Finance, the Ministry of Health, and the Ministry of University and Research. And Toscana Life Science was added later as a fifth founder. So thanks to that, now we are the Center for Pandemic Preparedness. I don't want to bore you with more numbers, but basically this was funded for 340 million for a period up to 2026. And this is now led by Professor Rino Rappuoli, who is the scientific director of the new Biotechnopole, and he is already attracting a lot of experts and competencies around this. Last point is regarding the PNRR. We have been involved since the beginning in this new project. It's called, the acronym is DE, which stands for Tuscany Health Ecosystem. Is another big project, 110 million overall funding, with 22 partners, and also in this TLS is involved to give technology transfer support, company startup, networking, regulatory consulting, and promotion. It's basically it from Tuscany, and I'm ready to answer any question, and thank you again for your invitation.
Thank you, Francesco. So I will lead the floor to the next session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And before we go on with the next session, let me just give a quick technical issue for the ladies, I think. There is a ring that was lost somewhere. Michela, where are you? Okay, over there. So Michela will give it to me. Oopsie. You're right, Andrea. There's a problem with this. So after the meeting, if somebody realizes that they lost a ring, please come to me because there's it's right there. Okay, so thank you very much for staying. I think we're still on time. We're lagging 20 minutes behind, which is exactly the delay we had at the beginning, so it's perfectly fine. So the next session is focused on our international friends. It's called Connecting Italy and the Innovation Hub across Eastern Europe, and I'm very happy to have here some of our international friends, so I will ask them to come on the stage. Lukasz Kutreba, who is the Director of Business Development at the Jagiellonian Center of Innovation in Krakow. We have Vladimir Kochubey, connected. He is the Head of Business Development at the Medical School, University of Pécs in Hungary. Whoa, it's getting nicer here. Okay. By money, ring, man, we're having a business here. And also Guntis Rubin from the Head of Representative Office here in Italy of Investment and Development Agency of Latvia. Thank you very much for being here, and why we decided to have this session today. And the reason why we decided to have this session is exactly the picture that was there a minute ago, and they just take it away. Because except from Friuli Venezia Giulia's region, which was presented before, it's the only green region in Italy, we are yellow, which means that we are a moderate, innovative country, just like all of these Eastern European countries that you see here. What does moderate innovator means? It means that there is great science being carried out in those countries. There is also good funding for basic research activity. But the ecosystem is not mature for tech transfer. It means that, for example, there is no sufficient critical mass if you take each country by itself. It means that most of the time startups are funded way too early with respect to what a VC or an industry would like to see. So there is a mismatch of expectation, there is a mismatch of investments opportunity, and it's also a very hyper-fragmented ecosystem. That's exactly what we're trying to do with these initiatives. We're trying to connect the dots. We're trying to leverage innovation across this country in order to make this sparkling ecosystem more attractive to the market. So I'm very happy to have here Lukasz Kutreba from the JCI, from Jagiellonian Center of Innovation, which just signed an agreement to create physically an office here in Milan at the Mindshare Labs here in Bio4Dreams in order to foster communication between the local biotech ecosystem in Poland and what is happening over here in Italy. So Lukasz, the floor is yours. Thanks.
Thank you, Fabio. I'll use this microphone, and
you can go anywhere, huh?
It'll probably be easier for me to stand.
This is for you.
Yep. Can I ask for a presentation, please? So the story of our friendship and my presence here goes back to the year of 2021 when I was part of the mission that was organized by one of the Polish companies that helped some of the biotech and pharma companies to come to a CPHI conference that was held in 2021 in Milano. And at that time, I met Fabio, and we came up, Fabio came up with this great idea that we should do something together, bringing the same idea that was just described a minute ago by Fabio. So last year, I had this chance to be one of the participants, and I sat, as you guys are sitting right now on the audience, and was listening and being under great impression what is happening here in your life science ecosystem. And I promised myself to do everything to be at least a part of this ecosystem as much as I can. So I confirm that that agreement that we have signed to have a local presence, us as a JCI here in Milano in mind, and Bio4Dreams in Poland, in Krakow, in Life Science Park, actually came true. So I'm really happy about it. So those wonderful presentations that I've heard about your development of your regions, of the parks that are present, I mean, it leaves me with a great impression what is actually happening here in Italy, and I'm really congratulating you guys for all your efforts. So in order to tell you what is happening in Poland, I need to sort of make a step back a little bit and tell you what is the landscape of of life science ecosystem in Poland. Obviously, I have very little time, and I'm talkative, so I'll try to do it very briefly. So it'll be just an outlook to this, what is happening, and how JCI is located in that ecosystem, and what role it plays. Okay. So probably similarly like in Italy, you have some key players and key stakeholders in the life science ecosystem in Italy. We have the same in Poland. So if you look at this slide, there are a number of key players, stakeholders, puzzles of this ecosystem. It is virtually impossible to describe all of them within the time that I have. So what I want to turn your attention to is the medtech and startup community and biotech business, because those are developing rapidly in Poland since few years. This is the map, not maybe of a good quality, but still giving you some sort of a glimpse of understanding where are the biotech sector, where it's located. And if you look at here, those are the natural clusters that are forming in the regions of Poland where companies, institutions, in the biotech sector itself are located. And you can see Krakow is here, southern Poland. So that graph, maybe it's not so big as it is in Warsaw, obviously. However, the two companies that are presented here, Raivu and Selvita, are contributing to the biggest numbers in terms of market valuation and money that was driven and attracted to biotech sector in the past 10 years. So even though that this is small, the significance of, for example, these two companies that are worldwide recognized is substantial. The other sector that is worth mentioning, that is developing strongly in Poland, is medtech sector. Why this is so? There is a growing number of innovative companies in this sector. Over 100 startups in the recent years have been established that were focused on medtech. And this is driven by, I just mentioned, few factors that in my opinion are most significantly play a role in that trend. So digital health and in diagnostics, remote medical care. We know what COVID made and what kind of changes it has driven in the remote medical care. Obviously, the AI-supported algorithms and machine learning has a significant influence on the development of medtech startup scene. And most of those companies are in the area of medical devices. So that eventually had to somehow attract interest of seed funds and VC funds. So let me give you some numbers. If you look at this graph, there are a number of different sectors in Poland and the investments that were made in the years 2020 and 2021. If you look closer to the graph, over 18% in the year 2020 and almost 15% in the year 2021 was dedicated and represented by the largest number of deals and was focused on the health sector in these years. So that really tells you something that healthcare life science is in the focus of the investment of the private funds and public funds. Now, another data shows that the VC investments done in Poland in these years were also significantly focused on the life science sector. You see here on this graph the investments in the years 2019 to 2021 and top five of those. So if you look at closer which companies from which sectors they were and what money has been invested, it clearly shows that the first one out of five and the last one out of these five, so the first and the fifth, were from healthcare sector, ranging with the investments of a single round, from 150 million euro to 26 million euro. So now the question comes up, how to support that process and how to facilitate it in order for this process to move on and to be successful. So institutions like technology parks, and I really, really like the presentations that were ahead of mine, giving this picture how technology parks are developing here in Italy, and I'm really under deep impression of this. So those institutions play a key role, and we've seen this it is in these presentations before mine, in developing the sector. So Jagiellonian Center of Innovation is also a technology park. We have our own history of development, starting from, one would say, 1364, when Jagiellonian University has been established, but this is obviously with the long gap then until year 2004, when the university has established Jagiellonian Center of Innovation, a company that the university is the only owner of. So over these next years, the key milestones have been established, where we were gradually developing tools to help to grow the life science sector in Poland, because as a company and as a technology park, we are solely dedicated and focused on life science sector. We don't touch any other sectors. So we have developed two investment funds, JCI Venture and Human Alpha, so that's on the side of financing. Clinical Trial Center, we've been talking about hospitals today and wonderful innovations in hospitals, so we do take part in this story as well. And also a life science cluster that has been established in 2006 and is successfully operating until today. And last but not least, in 2022, we are EIT Health Hub for Poland. So what are specific tools that we are using to support this sector? Life Science Park with the 20,000 square meters of infrastructure dedicated fully for the tenants, biotech, cosmetic, pharma companies which are located and running their R&D activities. Service laboratories. I was under the impression that you had 48 laboratories, someone said, from Tuscany, right? That's unbelievable, 48 laboratories. We have 6 of those. We are much smaller yet, but still the idea is to be one-stop shop. So if the tenant of the Life Science Park has a particular need of service in the lab, then we have our own laboratories. We do have, we can design products on the commercial basis, and we can manufacture those. So this we can do in the area of cosmetics and medical devices that are in the liquid and semi-liquid form. We do not manufacture drugs yet. This story is still ahead of us. We have a clinical trial center with the 22 ongoing clinical projects from the top 10 pharma companies in the world. So we're very well, highly qualified and recognized clinical center, small, but still operating with a significant clinical trials projects. We do consulting and financing. Financing, I mentioned 2 venture and seed capital funds that we have established and invested into over 20 innovative startup companies. We obviously do networking and internationalization. Part of the story is that we are here at Bio4Dreams. Cases, I'm not going to describe all of them for the sake of time, but just to give you an idea in what type of companies we're investing into. So those are just the examples. A company from healthcare sector, and since the society is getting older and older, there are some opportunities that startup companies are seeing in the management of this kind of situation. The lifestyle, healthy well-being. Artec is a company that is actually in the field of biotech and rehabilitation. And 4 other examples are also in the area of medical devices, healthcare, or in the border of IT and healthcare as well. Last but not least, like I said, we can be operational at the regional level, but we understood some time ago that giving outlook to international corporations is the way and key to do it. So I'm really happy that I'm here and that we've been able to establish collaboration with Bio4Dreams, and I'm really looking forward to talk to any of you guys who will be willing to find this kind of planes of collaboration that we can do something together. And Fabio, thank you for that. I will not take more of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas. And as we proceed into the journey throughout the different Eastern European countries, I would like to welcome, even if remotely, Vladimir, who unfortunately could not join us today here. Vladimir is from the oldest university research center in Hungary, the University of Pécs, which was built, I believe, in 1367, so quite a long time ago. So Vladimir, thank you very much for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, Fabio. Thank you for your words. I was really amazed listening to the presentation just told. It was really amazing and very nice. I will try to share my screen. I hope it will work, and then try to explain and demonstrate why we are here. I mean, why Pécs is with you at this very, very pleasant moment. Thank you for the invitation again. As Fabio mentioned earlier in his speech at the beginning, that Bio4Dreams realized the opportunity to engage the moderate innovation ecosystems of Europe into an international network. So yes, exactly, that was the idea. We also realized that it can be a great help to develop our innovation ecosystem. But it was not the only reason, and not only the only main reason why we joined Bio4Dreams International Network this year, starting from January. The very important reason was the spirit we learned, the spirit of innovation, and the spirit of the team of Bio4Dreams. We had the opportunity to learn and actively cooperate in the last few years regarding Bio4Dreams, Neurozone, and the University of Pécs, basically the medical school, and also the research center of the university. So this was, I think, the main element, and this is the main element to share the spirit of innovation with you, why we are here. And also there are some other issues which are common, I think. For example, the love of hills and the location. You can see on the pictures that Pécs, not a very big city, this Slavish city in Hungary, is also surrounded by hills, not so big hills, but very nice hills. Interesting. It was interesting to hear presenters mentioning the phase of their projects being a toddler, and we could see grown-ups also. What I can say regarding the new company we established together with Bio4Dreams and with our researchers from Hungary in January, we are a newborn, we are a baby from this regard, but we are ready to grow and develop. You can see that in Pécs we have a university of even more than 20,000 students, and of this university, medical school is the biggest faculty, almost hosting 6,000 to 8,000 students. And you will see some details about the medical school. So you can see that the innovation ecosystem we are dealing with here in our beautiful city is based on life sciences and basically on the medical school of the city. You see, Fabio mentioned the year of founding our university. After 600 years, I can say that innovation focus is really growing. However, it is true that in such a moderate, innovative environment, we have to always, and we are, I think, always a bit step ahead. What is a great, I can say, achievement is that we have 20% of our students from more than 100 countries, and also it's almost true for the teachers of the university that we are international in educational terms with our new building of the medical school. Why I'm showing you so many why I'm including the medical school in this presentation, because I'm basically the business development officer or head of business development of the medical school, and also the managing director of this newborn company we established this year with Bio4Dreams together and with outstanding local researchers. Here you can see Route 21 LLC, which was founded in Pécs, Hungary. It's an international partnership, let's say joint venture. You can see the basic competencies we are trying to share in international terms. Basically, these are preclinical studies, in vivo models, and molecular imaging, histopathology, molecular biology, omics, and bioinformatics. This is from the start is one of the areas we are active together with Bio4Dreams and trying to be an active partner of the international innovation ecosystem. So these are services based on these platforms. The other part of our activities include business development, which is also based on the shared know-how with Bio4Dreams and best practices. We are trying to fulfill a mission in Hungary to develop our innovation ecosystem and provide for further opportunities in business services as well. A few members you can see of our local innovation ecosystem, plus the University of Belgrade. We just concluded an agreement on cooperation in the last weeks, and of course Bio4Dreams. Just to mention a few other focuses and areas of innovative activities we are active in. This is some rough information about the spin-off we launched 2 years ago regarding software development in medical sciences, medical engineering, AR and VR spaces for medical training, and also an important part of the activities of the spin-off company is AI-based development of services and facilities. So this is a spin-off we run and started to run in the last 2 years, and we have a very, very close connection with Center for Biomedical Engineering and Innovation, the University of Pécs, where the 3D printing and visualization center is active, providing for several services for academy and industry and research, besides 3D printing, materials testing, 3D scanning, and so on. These are examples how we believe that the research and technology can really work together and come up with really innovative solutions. For example, this is our leading project right now. Just a few words about it. This is the S.r.l, artificial intelligence platform, which can be used in medical educations, which is a software framework based on artificial intelligence solution designed to support medical students, trainers, and mentors, and providing standardized, optimized, and reliable assessment of processes, surgical processes. And this application is based on classification, object detection, and object tracking technologies. And currently we are seeking partners to develop and go worldwide with this solution. So thank you very much again. And for a newborn, I think it was a lot of information to tell. So if you have any questions in the future, you can please contact me directly or with the help of Fabio. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vladimir, and get well soon. And last but not least, let's go up north and let's have Guntis Rubins telling us what is happening in another very, very interesting ecosystem, which is Latvia. Guntis, thank you. The floor is yours.
Using this. Hello? Yeah, you can hear me? Yeah, I think, thank you, Fabio, for giving this opportunity. Good afternoon, everyone. I think everyone is overwhelmed with information and with presentations. Thanks also for previous speakers, very interesting. I'm not kind of life science guy, I'm more government guy dealing with different sectors, and obviously life science is important, as in any country, and the government always tries to put money and support industry. Will give you very, very short. I have just 3 slides. It's a good news for you. So just give just pointing. Obviously, innovation, life sciences is critically important for any other country. I think is no difference. Latvia is the same also for our neighboring countries, Estonia and Lithuania. The sector obviously has long traditions. We are, as a small country, as all regions mentioned are smaller, we are 2 million. 1 million is around based in Riga, so everything is concentrated in Riga city, actually. And then there is secondary cities where you have subsidiaries, but basically industry research centers are based in Riga. No mountains in Latvia, just 311 meters, the highest point. Linking people, all presentations. Though I learned to ski downhill skiing in Latvia, so, but now it's much easier to ski here in Alps. You can, just to give you an idea of the numbers, so the country is just 2 million people we are, not many. It's quite well developed. It's a long history in life sciences, and especially in medicine development. So there is, it's quite, as in small country, obviously, there always is lack of resources, of human capital, and it's getting more and more international because it's always issue, it's new ideas, partnerships, and I maybe show next slide to give you some names a little bit to describe in this way. Obviously, what government tried to put is put at the one table all academia, industry, research, so that they talk, because also even in small country like in Latvia, 2 million people don't talk, they don't know each other, and sometimes they go, I don't know, to events or conferences. Like in Milano, for example, they meet, and they discover they can do things together. Even in small country, you need to do these things. The landscape is quite, I think, international. So you can see some MGI. Here is Illumnia, is part of mine, that's competitor.
Just left the room.
Just left it. That's fine, yeah. They have European headquarters in Riga. Roche is probably one of the biggest pharmas which is in Latvia since 30s. They just announced that they are opening support hub in Latvia for Europe, Africa, and Middle East. They had pharma and diagnostic division big. Then there is obviously local players, because during the Soviet Union years, Riga was one of the major hubs for new drug development. And we have an Organic Synthesis Institute, which is, I would say, world class. Discovered also that some Italians are working there, which are working practically with all big pharma companies, Novartis, GlaxoSmith, AstraZeneca, or you know. Then there is other research centers, biomaterials. Another one is biomedicinal research center, which do a lot of vaccines. Research institutes in Latvia is mainly connected with universities. The major one is in Riga Stradin University, which is pretty international. Around 1/4 of students and professors, lecturers are foreigners, so it's quite international. They have cooperation, if I'm not mistaken, with Bolzano University. There's also Italian students, 100, but it's mainly from Germany and Sweden, so it's close cooperation. Then we have, obviously, everybody mentioned startups. As a startup environment in Baltic states is very well developed. It's recognized one of the best in the world. We have around 40 startups in medtech, healthcare area. I was mentioning, Fabio, that there is kind of mismatching to early finance that we can discuss. But I think startup ecosystem as such, though it's small countries, I think is developed is ahead of Italy. Italy is catching up in that sense, but it's very integrated with Scandinavia, more Baltic Sea region countries. There is a lot of capital coming from this. I'm trying on my side to bring Italians, for example, one fund is in Latvia. This week there is Deep Tech Atelier, which is specializing on deep tech startups event on optics, photonics, a little bit also medicine is part of it. But it's quite well developed, and it goes obviously outside, because if in Italy you are, okay, you have these regions, but still you are rather big country where you can test out your things. You are 60 million. It's an interesting market you can do. But in case of Latvia, we are just 2 million, as I said, 2 cats and 1 dog. So you need to go outside from the beginning. So you need this more global mindset, and building international partnerships are critical to make these things. And I think Italy, your colleagues and previous presenters explained what you are doing, how you are doing, and we can learn a lot. And I think we can do many things in partnering up with you. And my task is actually to do these things, bring together. Next and maybe last slide. Obviously, there is a lot of support provided either by private operators or by government institutions in Latvia. So if you are a startup, there is very generous support system. For example, to give you an idea, you pay flat social tax fee, like 300 euros. You don't pay personal income tax as a startup. And there is created systems that you can motivate your employees by giving them company shares, so which is always an issue. So for startup, the most costly is actually the people in Latvia, but not just in Latvia, but in Baltic states is the best system practically in the world. So we have a lot of foreign startups coming to Latvia using as a platform. And obviously, there is not market. Baltics is 6 million together even. It's too small. Or Nordics is 25 million. So they work globally. Knowing that we are so few, we are trying to be very open. We should be much more agile, more flexible, to be interesting. To give you an idea, if you are big corporates, there is obviously, like in Italy, different grants, programs which should come up, changing partly by EU finance. So it's pretty generous support you can get also as a big business. We also our agents which I represent, we do a lot actually to encouraging doing all sort of events, trying also to make them international as much as possible, encourage young people to come up with ideas, establish startups, take initiatives. There is a lot of incubators within universities. There is private incubators, company incubators, for example, Rocher, I showed they have incubators. So there are a lot of different initiatives. The ecosystem is quite matured and quite rich, but and we try to build this partnership, and I'm very happy to be here and cooperate with Bio4Dreams, build these links with Italian life science ecosystem. Okay, that's very short from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Gundis. And I think that over this morning we've talked about all the different infrastructure elements of innovation. We talked about research center, we talked about institutional players, we talked about regional ecosystem in Italy and in Eastern countries. So I think it's just about time to talk about startups, which are the vehicle by which innovation can really get onto the market. So it's my real pleasure to have in the next session, pitching session, moderating the session, Bobby Kaura from Illumina Startups and Ecosystem Manager. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you. Cheers.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. It is my second visit, so I was here last year, and I have to admit I got infected just by looking at what's happening in mind, what's happening in Bio4Dreams. So it's my pleasure to introduce a little bit about what we do at Illumina, and then talk about the startups that we're going to be presenting later on. So Illumina, for those that don't know, is a genomics sequencing platform company, and we build technologies that help us decipher our DNA, our DNA molecules, to figure out how that is related to disease, how it's related to health, how it's related to developing diagnostics and therapeutics and preventative care, but also outside of those areas, like in agriculture. So back in 2003, just to put things into context, when we sequenced the first human genome, which was at a cost of around about $3 billion, I think 100 million of that was around sequencing, but that project took 10 years at $3 billion. And we fast forward today, what took 10 years, we can typically do in about 19 hours. What took $100 million to do, we can do within $200. And that movement of cost of sequencing from up there to all the way down here has really been powered by a lot of the technologies that Illumina has developed over time. So what's happened during that period is that the number of innovators and entrepreneurs that could start building applications on top of our platforms has just increased. And we realized back in 2014, when we saw a lot of these new applications being built, thought, hey, why don't we're in a position to help them to develop these technologies and take them to market. So we started our first accelerator, Illumina Accelerator, based out of San Francisco. And the idea was that we could provide 4 key resources to these entrepreneurs and these young startups to help them succeed, get the funding that's necessary, and to grow as into billion-dollar valuation companies. So very briefly on those 4 sort of pillars, first one absolutely is access to finance. It's very hard for startups to scale and grow if the finance community is not available to invest in early stage ideas, take those risks, and help those companies scale up to the Series A and the Series B that we all want them to see. So within Illumina Accelerator, and I talk particularly for the UK at least, we were able to provide £100,000 upfront as a convertible note, just to help startups get started. But also we created a £30 million fund, a matching fund, which was to say that, hey, if you're really developing a product, something that can be commercialized and that is applicable, you raise the first 500,000 and we'll match the next 500,000 up to, I think, about 3.5 million. And that really is just to provide startups with that little bit of runway that they can build out their team, build out their platform, and really get ready. And I think one of the key things I was going to mention is, in Europe and the UK, we have phenomenal research, but we've got a very poor translational record. And when it comes to investment, which is 80% of it from US, we've got to make sure that our companies and our people are as good and on the same level as some of the US startups that we see. We want to be able to attract more investment into our communities. The second one is around proprietary data sets, making sure that companies can develop novel IP, so we allow them to sequence as much as possible. You get your hands on as many samples as you can, and we'll help them sequence it, whole genome sequence, exome, transcriptome, and what have you. But we really want them to create novel data sets, proprietary data sets, off of which they can then deliver those compelling experiments that everyone's going to say, all the investors are going to look at and say, this is a VC-backable company. There is depth in that company. I think the third part of Illumina Accelerator is that we have built a global network of VCs, key opinion leaders, pharma, biotech partners, and we basically want to create villages around each of our startups that will help them succeed in the future. And then finally, of course, we have laboratory space both in San Francisco and Cambridge. And it's to bring these communities together for startups to be able to talk to each other and think through what is their business model going to look like, how can they learn from each other, and also to do the science on site. So both the science and the business and the technical expertise that's provided from us. A quick a shout to a few numbers. So over the last 8 years now, we've had 72 companies that have graduated. Those 72 companies in aggregate have now raised over $1 billion. And if you look at the portfolio of companies, 50% I would say are therapeutics, 25% I would say are around diagnostics and femtech, direct to consumer, and then another 25% are based around synthetic bio, agritech, AI, ML platforms and tools. So that's how we started. But really talking about my role is I look at Illumina for startups, global ecosystem entrepreneurial development. So if Illumina Accelerator is our flagship company creation engine, we realize that we can't do that everywhere in the world. And yet we get companies coming from us globally. So we thought, what can we do? And the idea was, let's create Illumina for startups. And the Illumina for startups is, I would say, it's a platform, an ecosystem, entrepreneurial development platform where we get to engage with individuals in that community. So whether it be government officials, innovation ministers, universities, hospitals, entrepreneurs and startups, investors. And the idea is that can we create a net that will help us identify, seek out, and extract phenomenal scientists and research out of universities, and can we together grow and scale them up with all the ingredients that they may need. But also, as equally important, is making sure that we create a safety net for these startups not to fail, because over 98% of these startups will fail for various reasons. And so navigating the ecosystem together, we think that we can actually support these startups and create these communities that will create the 5 or 6 or 10 unicorns that community may want to see in the future. My learning over the last 2 or 3 years in this space has been is that, yes, we went in to build communities, and you'd be talking to science ministers and health ministers and universities that are working in health, but actually it's become a little bit of a story of, I would say, economic growth and economic development for countries. And so often the conversation turns to, well, if we've got a healthier population, we have a more prosperous society. And how can we support that? And there are 3 pillars that I think I've touched, that I've seen. One is around prevention, early detection in communities, so population health, and how can we promote that? And that really does take away, going from sick care systems to healthcare systems. We heard a little bit more about that earlier. I think one is around personalized healthcare, precision health, diagnostics and therapeutics. How do we support more novel therapeutics coming into our communities that support individuals on a personal basis, whether it be through prognostics or diagnostics? The third one that is pertinent to us is around the translation of academic and clinical research. Like I said, I still think we're not as good as we could be to translate our ideas into commercial and clinical applications. So how can the ecosystem support startups to, in our case, action the genome into something that's going to be meaningful for patients and for society at large, and of course outside of those areas in ag tech, as I mentioned, or in other technologies. Why is it important? First of all, we're bringing novel technologies to market. Secondly, we're creating an ecosystem that's going to bring new talent, retain talent, but more importantly, job creation. And I think that's what I've seen globally now, is that we are part of that conversation which will spur economic growth. Just to give a highlight, of course, we launched something in China, an incubator in China with Sequoia, to do exactly that, which is to create genomic startups in China for China. We're working with public-private partnerships in Australia, with the government of Melbourne and as a government of Victoria and University of Melbourne to bring about diagnostics to market. And then, of course, we look at new geographies locally, regionally, and globally to see what we can do. What do we look for? We want novel science, tough science, in-depth science. We want talent. We want individuals that really want to enter the entrepreneurial journey. We need investors, location, working in an environment where you've got the right universities and the researchers and the hospitals coming together. And this is what's so attractive, and particularly with Milan, is that when Fabio and I started talking a long time ago, there's something that he said that resonated. So often we talk about, hey, let's build something and everybody will come. But what about if you switch that upside down and you say, why don't we tell the world what we have so they will come here to build? And that's, I think, the notion that we got left with, and that's why I've been shouting to my teams in Illumina that we have to build here and do something together. And I thank you for inviting us, and hopefully we have a good journey forward. Thank you. So with that in mind, I would then take the opportunity to introduce Federated Innovation. Over to you, Tim.
So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Ciao. My name is Vincenzo Bartoli. I'm Vice President of the Federated Innovation here in Mind, but I have also another job, which is the job that I take the salary for, which is I'm Head of Global Commercial Innovation in AstraZeneca. So with this, I would like just to give a kind of personal view, but also a more official view of what is Federated Innovation in Mind we have created in the last 2 years. I've shared a couple of slides with the organizer, and thanks again, Bio4Dreams, Johnson & Johnson, and Janssen to give me the opportunity also to present the Federated Innovation. So if you go to the next one. Oh, thank you so much. So actually, there is a lot of the Federated Innovation that I'm going to share with you, which is in a, let's say, good, effective overlap with what I have already heard from Bobby, which is good because it seems that we are working in the same direction, and it is important to understand how we can really make the right synergies with the different projects and different activity. So the Federated Innovation is a unique network of private and public institutions that are trying to collaborate together to accelerate innovative projects in Italy, in Mind, in Milan. There are some industries like AstraZeneca, Bio4Dreams, and Illumina that are part of also of the site. We have our office here, our Italian office is based here, but we have to consider Federated Innovation as an opportunity also to expand virtually the collaboration between industry and startups, also in the digital and virtual space. Why Federated Innovation is kind of unique model we have, at least in Italy. We don't want to pretend to say that this is unique in the world, but for Italy it's kind of unique model that we are trying to leveraging on to accelerate innovation. You can see there some aspects. First of all, we have a blueprint with a specific mission that is to provide collaboration with a framework and a model. So we have some guidance and step and also organization that can help industry, public and private institutions, but also startups to collaborate on a specific strategic pathway to create new solution and to implement new solution. The second important point is that there are two main topics, two main areas of application of the innovation. Innovation is always good everywhere, but if you really want to accelerate, you have to make sure that you have some guardrails in your innovation journey. The guardrails for us are the two main topics we would like to address. One is to implement innovation in the field of the city of the future, whatever can be considered a good application of technology or digital technology for the future of the citizens here in Italy, in Milano, but also, we believe, in Europe. And the second pillar is about the future of the health, which is about, I think, we have been discussing today with a lot of other presentation. We have organized ourselves in 12 thematic areas. This can help to really understand for a startup, for a private company, for an institution, where there is the most of the interest to collaborate. So you can really have kind of, again, structured approach to the innovation, because sometimes it can help to accelerate the project and to be very clear about what we are trying to achieve with the other stakeholders. And these are like some numbers that can represent a fast success we have been having in the first 2 years. We started like in 2020, at the end of 2021, with really giving some acceleration into the project. And what you see there is that we have 40 leading companies being part of the Federated Innovation, 130 startups already being contacted and working actively with the companies. We have also some service providers, because the intention of the Federated Innovation is not to overlap what the other ecosystem and accelerator are doing, but really to provide the layer, the framework in which startups and companies can really, download what they are doing, trying to accelerate in a sort of a protected test bed the innovation. And we also have ecosystem support that are helping like the machinery to work, because it is important, of course, to consider also administrative, bureaucratic aspects that sometimes are a big challenge for small, but also even for bigger company. In 1 year, we have more than 100 initiatives that have been started. Some have been started with AstraZeneca and other company. And with that, let me just comment the three elements, the three pillars that I think are very unique to the federated innovation. The first one is that startups and industries, most of the time, they are trying to collaborate to create innovation in a sort of private sector using the ways of working of the industry. What is really important, I have heard something very important from Bobby before, is that we have a structured presence of also institution in our network, which is really helpful, at least in Italy, where the pathway for innovation and also the final application of technology in the field of healthcare, science, but also life, city of the future is quite fragmented, and we need to really understand what would be the level of expectation of the public system when to get a new opportunity to apply and to use the technology. And you see there few names of very relevant institutions. We have Ospedale Galeazzi here. I think that it is important to also understand the opportunity to go across the road for a pharma company and to discuss with a clinical institution which kind of priority we have, and we can put like resources but also brains together to really accelerate common purpose. But also we have Politecnico di Milano and Università di Milano, which are representing like academic anchors that are helping us not only to really shape a bit the scientific discussion and bring value into what we are doing from a technical standpoint, but also, and this is what we are doing with the PNRR, it's a good opportunity to create private and public collaboration to also maybe use some public funding coming from Europe to accelerate further innovation and initiatives in the field of innovation in Italy. The second important aspect is the fact that we have an organization. The organization is like putting together different layers that are responsible for different activity in the federated innovation. We have a strategic alliance which is setting the strategy of the site, but also how we want to collaborate with the external stakeholder to accelerate innovation. There is a strategic innovation alliance, which is the 14 companies that have been in the beginning created this federated innovation and are building the initiative, but also defining a bit more the framework to help to accelerate initiative. And then the real innovation, the project, are happening in the layer 2, where we have the thematic areas that I will show you in a while, and layer 3 and layer 4, where we have the opportunity to further expand the innovation and the collaboration, not only with the companies that are already part of the federated innovation, but also with other startups or institutions, or maybe service providers that can be interested to provide piece of the solution. So again, my message is that the federated innovation is a great opportunity to have a collaborative, structured, guardrailed, open innovation that can help for small startup, but also for big company to really accelerate innovation, fail quickly, understand quickly what can really work, and also provide better understanding of the opportunity. And you see here the 12 different thematic areas we are having. This kind of evolving picture, because of course it depends of which company are part of the federated innovation. So we can define that maybe we need to add another thematic area, or maybe we have to delete some of the thematic area because there is no interest in the public and private company to bring work there. But this is very important because this can really lead the opportunity to work on specific project. And the fact that, and this is my last slide, the fact that we have a kind of organization and differentiation of thematic area can help to really understand how to collaborate on a specific topic. But the overall project of the federated innovation is also providing a unique opportunity for cross-industry contamination of great ideas. What we believe is that in the past, good application of technology and innovation in the pharma or in science industry has been also used in other industry. And we want to keep this kind of collaboration and conversation always open, because it means that we can really discover something that can be applicable in different sectors, and with that accelerate the first layer of the innovation, which is understanding the value and also understanding the business model which is behind the value we want to bring to the patient or the citizen in case of the two different thematic areas. So I think and I hope I give you a clear explanation of what we're doing here. And for that, thank you.
Cool, me again. So as we said, we were going to talk about startups and entrepreneurs and the journey that they've taken. So it's my privilege to welcome Marco onto the stage and talk about his startup and his journey. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Okay. I would like first of all to thank Fabio Bianco for inviting me here. When he invited me here, first of all, I immediately told him, but we are not a startup, so what I am coming to do there, I'm not in the right place. But then he told me, yes, but in your company you operate in a way that can be interesting also for startups. So I'm here, but the first part of my presentation is EdTech is not a startup, but in the second part of my presentation, I will show a case study, and then I will conclude. So, EdTech is the company, and I'm the director of the research of the EdTech group. The company is organized in different business units, appliance, mobility, healthcare, and sensing. We use the Metalux brand that is a owned company in Switzerland producing sensors. And what we do in this context as advanced research group is to work for all the business units developing new products, starting from the very beginning, but also in two ways. Sometimes the ideas can come from the customers, or from the clients as well, or from our colleagues in the business units. In other cases, we have ideas to be applied in our core business sectors that are born in our group of the advanced research group. And in some case, those new ideas can have a useful development, not inside the company, but in a way that can be spin-off from the company. It is a new experiment that we are trying to do. So when an idea that we believe is useful and can have a good application is born inside, but we have not a direct customer immediately. So the exercise we are trying to do is to spin off the activity, find investors also from outside, and together with the property of the company to found a new company. But it is a possible business model that we are investigating. And a case study that can be useful for this kind of experiment is the rapid and ultra-rapid AST. AST means antibiotic susceptibility testing. It is an exam that is intended to understand which is the right antibiotic to be used on a bacteria for an infection. And typically, the process takes from 24 to 48 hours in the normal practice. There are some systems also that can reduce this time, but always the time is relatively long. And in some cases, this time is too long for the patient in critical conditions, but also in the community medicine, in some cases, it can be useful to shorten the time for the antibiogram. So this is the system we are developing. It is a system intended to have the antibiogram in 1-2 hours, no more than 2 hours total. And it is based on a microfluidic chip. You can see the chip on the left. It is a disc where there are V-shaped microchannels inside. And the bacteria culture is put inside, and then it's cultured inside the microchannels for 1 hour. And after that, the disc is rotated like a CD, And the centrifugation inside the microchannels is going to form a pellet inside the corners of the channels. And so with an automatic system of vision, we can measure the area of the triangles, and it is proportional to the proliferation of the bacteria inside each channel. It means that lyophilizing in the microchannels different antibiotics, we can obtain the antibiogram because in some cases the bacteria will proliferate, in other cases it will not. So this is a detail of the disposable, the microfluidic chip, and here it is an example of a case of several channels filled with bacteria after centrifugation. Of course, we have a lot of channels in a disk because we would like to repeat the same measurement in many to have a good statistics, let's say. So the percentage of inhibition means the percentage of the area respect the control that is growing freely. And so we can understand, here is an example of the software that is operating with the automatic vision and calculation of the areas. It is another case with smaller triangles where we had an inhibition. And here you can see how we can distinguish different concentrations. In this case, I also shown yeast for two reasons. First of all, because we are also investigating other applications, not only in microbiology, but not only for the medical application, but also in industrial application related to fermentation. And the second one is that I produce wine, so it is a microorganism that I like very much. And anyway, they can operate also with yeast. And out of the joke, it's true that we can have some interesting application also in the industrial sector for fermentation. And we have two different protocols. One is starting directly from the primary sample, and the second one, it is more conservative. We start from the isolated colonies. And here you can see some examples of different kind of bacteria that are resistant or susceptible to different antibiotics, and we can quite well distinguish with our system the resistance or the sensitivity, at least starting from the culture from the isolated colonies. The case, and here you can see also how well can be distinguished the populations of resistant and susceptible strains. So just to summarize, this is the standard. In the first row, you can see the standard way of operating of antibiograms with a total of from 30 to 48 hours. Then there is the alternative to start from isolated colonies and our rapid system in 1 hour. And then it is the third way that is under an investigation. We don't know if there is the biological feasibility of this approach to have in 2 hours all the complete antibiograms starting from primary samples. So I think I can conclude. What we demonstrated is that the system can operate successfully both on primary samples and on isolated colonies. And we have also some good results, very promising results on isolated colonies. And what we have to do is to demonstrate the feasibility also of an ultra-fast AST. Of course, if there is any question, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marco. A truly unmet need. Next, I'd like to call up David. Thanks, David. He's going to be talking about Eulalia health. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to be here. It's been a journey. For me, I first met Pietro and Elisabetta and Bio4Dreams 3 years ago, and we basically started together a journey that led us to what I'm going to show you. So Eulalia Health is the company I am the CEO and the founder of. The company is basically working in the rehabilitation sector, selling to rehabilitation clinics and professionals, and pursuing a very specific goal. So our vision is we envision a world where anyone, anywhere, anytime can access to advanced clinically validated rehabilitation solutions to improve their mobility performance and live as full, as active lives as possible. So you see that in this vision there is some keywords that are really important to us. So anyone, anywhere, anytime. So rehabilitation, you know, is a very boring business where people are taken care by physiotherapists on the beds. You have to do boring exercises. What we are trying to do is to make something more effective and improve compliance. So the needs of this market are pretty well known, as in several other healthcare sectors. The fact that patients don't usually know what to do when they have to do rehabilitation, and usually patients are sent home because, you know, in this poor sector of rehabilitation, all the patients are useless, you know, because they don't have to stay in the hospital, and we have to free space for more important patients. So they are experiencing a lot of pain, but at the same time, there is no care for them. And also here in Italy, in Europe, where public healthcare systems have been very powerful in providing support to these patients, this is somehow going away, and all the patients have to take care of their healthcare at the best possibility they can. So what we propose is a real pathway through our technology that takes care of the patient from the beginning till the end. So the beginning means you go to your physiotherapist or to your orthopedicians, to your doctor, and they basically assess you. And what we are proposing, and I'm going to show you, is a way to make an objective assessment of the patient. And throughout the journey, I'm not going into the details, the patient is really accompanied to go home and work with our products and perform exercises in the best way possible. So we are improving compliance, and we are improving the way rehabilitation is performed. So let's see how we do that. So we have an ecosystem of product that is basically going from a very complete system that we call Eularia Lab, formerly known as Riablo, which is a portable biomechanical lab. So basically, with this system, a physiotherapist or a sports scientist can perform gait analysis, can perform balance assessment, range of motion assessment, and also perform some exercise in the clinic. And everything is objective. So all the data are stored in a secure way, of course, and everything is provided for the physiotherapist and for the doctor. We have developed and launched a new product that is sold to clinics where you have a rehabilitation gym, and basically a physiotherapist is 1 against 3 or 4 patients, and they have this very light solution with just 2 sensors through which they can perform exercises and evaluation in a nice and easy way. And then we go with Eularia home to the home of the patient, where the patient is really doing what the physiotherapist is asking him or her to do. But let's see the details, and if technology assists me, I'm gonna show you this video. Guys, can you help me from there? Thanks. It's very short, but it's just to give you an idea of what our product does. So first of all, the technology we use are inertial sensors. So these are wearable sensors that are used to measure angles. And through the sensors, we are also able to measure steps, spatiotemporal parameters, to measure balance, and we go from neurological patients up to sport patients. So this is really a biomechanical lab in the hands of the physiotherapist. And everything is objective. You see the patient has a feedback in front of her. We have a pressure sensor board through which you measure the balance, and you really have a way to engage the patient in the clinic. Okay? So this product is sold throughout Europe and in APAC, in Asia Pacific, to very important clinics, and our customers use the product as much as they can to have a more effective rehabilitation. As I told you, we have also launched, can you go to the next slide, please? I can't from here. and just on the arrow there. La freccia. There you go. Okay, this is our new product. So it's basically performing what Eulalia Lab, the product has just shown you in a lighter way. So basically you see here the normal and boring instruments of the rehabilitation gym. And through this product, the patient and the professional are working in a more engaging and compliant way. And it's used with several objects that you actually have in the rehabilitation gym. And then another very short video about the home solution where you actually see what happens. So basically, the professional has a cloud platform through which they can prepare exercises for the patient at home. And the patient basically receives a kit, which is all up and running. They don't have to configure anything. They also have a SIM card in it. And they have one sensor, one inertial sensor, through which they are measuring their movements. So the product is very light, very cheap, very smart. And patients of every age can use it, and this is really important. So we have tested and done UI and UX tests mostly on elderly rather than young patients. And after the exercises are done, the professionals can see the results, adapt the program, but the most important thing is that even if they can do telehealth, so video conference to understand what is happening, the professional doesn't have to be together with the patient while the patient is doing the exercises. And this makes things very effective, especially for public healthcare or big rehabilitation centers. Because basically in 1 minute you can prepare a program for a patient and the patient can work for a week on his or her exercises, feeling controlled by the physiotherapist remotely. This is our platform through which we collect data. This platform is really important for us because it's a cloud platform, GDPR compliant, through which we are already interacting with the most important systems in Italy and soon also outside Italy that are doing electronic medical records. So we have a FHIR interface through which we are interfacing with these very important software tools that are used throughout the country to manage patients. So being interactive and be adapted to these systems is really, really important for us. And it's opening a lot of market in the public healthcare. So just to give you some numbers, the company was founded in 2020, and since then we have doubled our number in terms of revenues, in terms of value of production. Last year, we had almost 1 million in revenues and 1.6 million in value of production. This year, our goal is to double revenues, and we are on track with that. And the goal is to be cash positive by the end of the year. Hopefully we will meet this goal, and the next year the market is growing. How we are growing? Basically, right now we are opening new markets. We have just signed a very important contract in China with a huge distributor, and through that we will expand our sales in Asia Pacific, and we are also opening other markets in Europe. Plus, we are testing our new business models here in the Italian market, but it's not something I'm going to talk about right now. So far, we have collected 2.2 million in investments and 1.2 million in grants. And this year, once we are cash positive, we are also looking for a new investment in order to grow our business and expand into new markets. So this is our team. These are the key people we have. Our team is mostly composed of biomechanical engineers and software developers. We have an important and strong sales team, administration, and the team is very well composed. The company, I didn't mention, it's ISO 13485 certified, which means we are a medical device manufacturer, and we are about to receive the MDR certification, Class 2A for all our devices, which opens a lot of opportunity in the European and other market. Thank you very much. Looking forward to meeting you afterwards.
Thank you. Do we have Alessio? Hey. Thank you, Alessio, from Evotion. Over to you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alessio-Vernì, CEO and founder of evolution. And thanks to Bio4Dreams for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here and represent as Emilia the region that for Italian doesn't exist, so Molise. And today I show you our first product of Evolution, a startup that focused on design, development, and commercialization of smart wearables and platform connected. So before we start, just think 1 second about all the worries and the concerns that you have when your children were babies. So thanks to questionnaires and interviews, we identified the main ones. So concerns about safety, especially during night hours, and not understanding what the babies really need. So lack of reliable data to understand for parents, and especially for new moms, and this is a not very good phenomenon, especially in Italy, the concerns to going back to work and feeling guilty and worried leaving the babies at home. It's for this reason that we created Mommy, the smallest smart wearable for babies 0-5 years old. This is Nina, our CFO daughter and our little mascot, and our first tester also. So just to explain you very fast our product function. So we have a bracelet that can monitor the key biometric parameters, such as heartbeat, oxygen saturation, temperature, and movement. This data is sent to our data hub that function as a charger for induction and as a gate to receive data in Bluetooth Low Energy and send data in Wi-Fi. On our cloud, this data is analyzed and matched through our algorithms. And with this matching, we can also provide derived data, such as briefing and sleep monitoring, just not quality of sleep, but understanding the cardio briefing parameters during the sleep, so to avoid the main problems during sleep. And after this analysis on our cloud, this data is sent to the app of parents in a very simple way, so translating from numbers to simple words and simple graphs. So we have continuous monitoring on our bracelet that can send alarms as needed. We have a personal health page that can give the parents an overview of the health status of babies. And in a 2.0 phase, we will have also a dashboard for doctors. So all this data can be sent also to doctors and shared with them. This is already an existing market, and our competitors do pretty much the same thing, but we want to differentiate our product in the way of use of data. So providing reliable and data and avoiding false alarms. Obviously, we want to validate this data through clinical validation. This is very important because, for example, our competitors just put the MVP on the market and after, okay, let's see what happened. The market is growing very fast. Just to give you a very fast overview, I don't want to bother you with these numbers, but the market is growing very fast, and especially in the last year, there were many operations in the wearable market because maybe the wearable seems to be very hot. And as I told you before, we want to differentiate our product in a clinical approach. So how we can do that? To starting with agreement with hospitals and universities. So we, thanks to Emilia Belfiore, we signed an agreement with IRCCS Neuromed to validate our product clinically, and also to validate it in their birth centers, hospitals. We also participate to WIT Accelerator program, the first digital health accelerator of GDP, and thanks to them, we also understood many things about the regulation, standards, and the industries. So, thanks to Neuromed, we will, in the first time, validate the product with a clinical trial, and also, thanks to them, we will have medical teams supporting us in research and improving the product. And after, we will do a go-to-market strategy in 3 levels. This is for the first stock of products. So the first level is to sell stock for premium hospital, for premium services. The second step is to start a pre-sale of our product. And the last step is to launch the product on the market in a B2C market. This is my favorite slide because I started alone, and after we become 3 with Andrea and Marco, and now we are 6. So this is an evolution family, and we hope to grow fast. And now we are also hiring and try to expand our team and expand our network. And I don't know, maybe some of you were worried about how to be part of it, and we opened a round of investment, and we are looking for 400K to improve our team, especially because we need to improve the software and the hardware team, also the commercial part and the sales part, and after we need to prepare our team to go to market, because as you know, B2C is not an easy market, and we need people that can manage this exit on the market, and also work on the R&D of the product. We already have a final product, so we are ready, we are testing it, and we already are working with it, but our philosophy is to improve continuously our product and to improve continuously accessories that can stay together with our product. So thank you for your attention, and if you have any question, I will be here later.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Danielle from Sky Proxima. Yeah, please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for the invitation by Bio4Dreams here, and I'm very happy to be here to give you information, important information, the first important information for the aviation and aerospace sector. The drone is capable to fly. I'm joking? No, I'm not joking. Why I give you this information? Because we have to take a step forward. We know now, in this moment, that the drones are capable to fly. They are capable to fly since 15 years ago. And now the technologies are ready to be used for this type of activities. Which type of activities? Create an ecosystem for the logistic transportation, for healthcare logistic transportation that involve not only the drone. The drones are a part of this ecosystem. Is depending and varies from 15–20% of the ecosystem. But we need the airport, we need the corridor, air corridor, we need the highways for this drone, we need the facilities for the healthcare services. We need to improve the advanced air mobility healthcare here in Italy and Europe. We are working on this pathway because we are creating this infrastructure that involve drone, vertiport, air corridor, rules, facilities, and instruments to use for the logistics of blood, organs, pharmacological goods, and so on. We use a drone that we can build inside the company, but we also use drone that we achieve from third party, because it's important to grow up with the technologies. So now we know that our drone that is capable to payload for 300–400 kilos, yes, exists, and we use it. And the distances are very important, because we are able and capable to fly for more than 150 kilometers. So we can connect not only the hospital that are not so far each other, but it's important to use this type of technologies to connect cities in the rural area, mountain, on the sea, on the specific area in which are very difficult to use a car or other mobility transportation. Example, outside Italy, Africa, Morocco, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and so on. This is the shareholder. These are the shareholder. We have expertise more than 10, 15 years in avionics, aerospace sector, biologists, medical sector, investment, and venture capital. But the strength of Skype Proxima is the creation of a specific network with other companies that help us to improve and to scale up more quickly for the services that will be done and will be on the field before the end of this year. We are reaching about 5 million, and next month, on May, we start the due diligence with Morocco country and the Saudi Arabia country to scale up more quickly for this type of services. And the outlook is to improve this type of ecosystem, with the creation of a specific hub dislocated in the territory, and with the facilities that can connect hospitals, cities, and so on. Delivery is on the way. UK are already done the new corridor for drone activities. In US, FAA, the National Institution for the Security and Control of Air Activities, are already start a specific program from drone. Here in Italy, we are improving according for the institutional, local institutional ENAC to create the new role for transportation. Veneto, Lombardia, Piemonte, Lazio, Puglia are already done. Probably in the next few months, Friuli Venezia Giulia. What about? We can transport anything. We personally, we don't create the boxes for the transportation. As I told you before, we create a specific network with other companies that create for us the specific instruments. So that is possible to create the whole infrastructure. Patented system, software specific for the communication, blockchain technologies, artificial intelligence technologies. And the airport. Now, today it's possible to use the car because we have highway, we have a fuel station, we have a specific road for the connection. But if you want to use the drone, you have to build the infrastructure for drone, not simply sign an H letter on the field and tell, this is the airport. No. We need a specific vertiport, and this is the reason why we establish a connection, a direct connection, and a business agreement with in the first company in the UK that present last year, in 2022, the first vertiport in the world. The value of the market and the value for Skype Proxima, these are the numbers. These are the numbers based on the provisions of the European Commission, because before the end of 2030, we have to improve these services, not experimentation, but activate the services. And our dream is to go to the moon, because we are already working for a project for the new logistic on the moon. As you know, in the 2025, we will be on the moon. It's realistic. And we built the first cities on the moon. And we are working to create the first logistic activities for the moon. That's all. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. Last thing, the bid is on the table. Which will be the region, the country, the city that create the first services of advanced air mobility healthcare in Europe? Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel. Last but not least, we will have it online, and Andres will present Synapse.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, my name is Andris Zhurovlyovs. I am from the managing director of Synapse. Our company is located in Riga, Latvia. And first of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me for this event. And special thanks to Fabio, as I wasn't able to come. The team found the possibility for me still to present. And I hope that my online experience will be able to transmit the level of excitement I have participating in this event. So in a few words, we are a deep tech healthcare startup with a big potential positive impact on healthcare and society. And I will present a presentation. Okay, so Synapse is artificial intelligence-driven ischemic stroke diagnostic assistant for the doctors. And the vision that we are following is that doctors save every patient's life possible, and hospital uses its resources at the most optimal level. And as you can imagine, this doesn't happen this way. So the problem in every hospital in the world is that when a patient with a stroke arrives, it's very important to have fast diagnosis and decision on the type of treatment, so the patient is cured faster. Because of different factors, like lack of doctors in regional hospitals, or the fact that CT scans are really hard to analyze because they are black and white, and ischemic stroke is not so good visible in those images. Only 80 to 60% of the cases are made in the right time and with the correct diagnosis. And as the statistic tells us that neurons are dying with the 2 million per minute, it's very important to have this decision correct and as fast as possible. And so working together with leading Latvian invasive radiologists, we have came to a conclusion that assistant for the doctors that will help the doctors to make the decision is needed. And we decided to build this on the AI platform. So we are analyzing these CT scans with AI. First of all, we point out the relevant CT scans because an examination usually consists of about 50 scans, and the relevant are only 5 to 10. But doctors, they need to spend time on all of them. So first of all, to point out the relevant CT scans. Secondly, to provide descriptive information for potential diagnosis, like a heat map and drawing the correct region of the ischemic stroke. And very important from the hospital's point of view is not to disrupt existing workflow in clinics. So we planned this as a plugin for the existing systems in hospital. And another important thing is not to overload doctors with additional information. And just this year in February, me and my colleagues, we took part in a S.p.A, it's a medical imaging conference in California. And there were several reports on the fact that often AI gives too much information for the doctor and makes doctor's decision even harder. So we gave all the extra attention to be helpful for the doctors, not to make it harder for them. And doctors' convenience and user experience is crucial for the solution. So we took all this into account, and we created and successfully validated a solution that is able to make two diagnoses, diagnose acute ischemic stroke and hyperdense arteria. Our solution is able to mark the area of pathology and draw the heat map. And we are pointing out the relevant scans for the doctors to pay attention to. And in the end, we can prepare diagnostic report, but the main reason of this solution is to help doctors to make the decision. So from the doctor's point of view, we are already MVP. So we are answering all the questions doctors have about specific patient. And what's very important for us and for a potential investor is that we build that foundation for the system that's now very easy to add additional diagnoses. We have taught neural networks to read and to understand the CT scans. And so now we can have additional diagnoses very fast as soon as we find something that is really relevant and needed for the industry. We can do it like in the months, we can add a new diagnosis. And so our solution saves 15 to 20 minutes on every patient, and that's about 2 to 3 times faster than the decision is now. Here we have a screen how it looks like. So we have a brain CT scan with areas that we think that AI thinks that there is a ischemic stroke. And so doctors can specifically give their attention to these regions and to understand faster. So the benefits, so diagnosis and needed type of treatment are determined faster and more accurate. As I mentioned, 2 to 3 times faster. So patients receive treatment faster, and the recovery for the patients is faster and less costly for the healthcare system at all. From the other point of view, doctors become more effective and less exhausted on the process. They can give more attention to the treatment and to the operations. And hospital resources are used more efficiently because doctors' time and the operation tables are used only for the patients at the right time. The market we see is like every medical institution in the world. And from the statistics, there are 8 million cases of stroke per year, ischemic stroke per year. And so if we say 15 to 20 minutes on each patient, and we know that neurons are dying with 2 million per minute, we can imagine how many patients and how many neurons we can save. About our team. So the Synapse is a project of 2 knowledges. First is medical, where leading Latvian invasive radiologists were bringing their knowledge and their need. And from the other side is a company S.p.A, who has a 10 years experience in artificial intelligence solutions, and their CEO, Agnes Jakubowicz. We were working with Paul Stradini Clinical University in Riga that was providing us data. And we raised and invested 200,000 euros for this first part of development. We have very precise analysis of our competitors, but roughly speaking, we are more accurate than the other companies. We analyze significantly wider area of CT scans, so our given information is much more effective and trusted. And the important information is that all the competitors raised from 25 to 250 million for similar solutions. So this shows us that the topic is really hot and we are in the right place. So the product that we will provide in the end is a licensed tool that is based on AI technology as a doctor's assistant. So we have developed it as a plugin for the hospital in existing medical processing system. So at the moment, we have completed the first development stage. We have developed and validated a ischemic stroke solution. Our level is S.r.l. 6. We have invested 200,000 euros. Now we're looking for funding to reach the MVP from technology point of view and enter the market. We have a very detailed plan with actions that we need to execute to have a great product. But for the first next step, we are looking for funding of 320,000 euros. With that, we'll be able to finish the solution, like we will reach the MVP level. We will install it in first 2 reference hospitals, and we're planning to have like 3 to 4 months of reference usage. And also with this money, we'll be able to bring first 5 paying customers that will allow us to continue the development of this solution with additional diagnoses to increase the accuracy and so on. So thank you. If there are any questions, you're always welcome to contact me.
Thank you very much, and we're actually at the end, almost at the end of the day. So thank you, Marcella, for joining me. First of all, just a technical question for all of you. So on the back of the badge, there's a QR code. If any of you wants to ask any information to any of the speakers, please just go on that side, and you can put your questions, put your email, and that's also for the people online. So we're almost at the end of the day, and I'm sure you've been much more diligent than I've been, so you've also taken notes. So please go ahead and do some considerations.
So can you hear me? Does it work? Yeah. So I want to recap a bit what we have said so far. Guntis said a very interesting quote. So he said life science is important because life science impacts society. So where we have advanced innovation in life science, we have an healthy society. This should be kept in our mind because innovation is always our passion and improve their life. And so a healthy society means less of public resources spent for treat disease. We have seen small ecosystem at the end of the day with mountains and with no mountains, okay? How can we get traction when we are managing with a reality that is not so big? How to get traction? So we spoke about investment, but investment is a common ground for every ecosystem and for everyone that want to boost innovation. We're speaking about also a connection between industry and research. I remember what it has been said by Alfredo from Trento, and keep a dialogue between industry and research is crucial to succeed because innovation should be translated in something that, again, should be brought to the market. Another important statement is about networking. So Lydia mentioned the importance of networking. So introducing the concept of critical mass. That is one of the problems we have in Italy. And at the end, again, the importance of public in facilitating interaction, facilitating all the process for a company. So I mean, facilitating access to investment, facilitating to other industries that can provide mentorship, facilitating to other companies that have similar and complementary business. And that's it.
Maybe I should add one word, which is speed. Startups don't die because they have not good ideas. They die because of lack of cash. They die because of the time they lose along the way as they develop their project. So we are in an ecosystem that we already said, it's fragmented, it's already complicated by itself. And I think it's absolutely nonsense that all of the stakeholders working in this ecosystem, starting from universities, going through the VCs, all the way to industry, do not act properly to reduce that time needed to get the project forward. So I think we all have to act to create moments such as this one, to connect the different ecosystems, to leverage innovation, to leverage the instruments, the facilities, the competencies there available for the startups in order for them to speed up their development and really create something that, coming from this ecosystem, we have nice success stories coming out. Sometimes it happens, but we want that to be a general system that continuously produces new innovation and somehow increase the minimum threshold of this critical mass so that we can make this success story happen more and more often. And on that, we'll start immediately this afternoon, so we're going for lunch now. But after lunch, many of the startups, many of the institutions will be at our place at the Shared Labs in Bio4Dreams to start interacting, start engaging, and get some of those interactions going. So once again, thank you very much for being here today and for making it through the rain and through the traffic and through all the different things that have happened today. And right on the other side in the Academy building, there will be lunch for everybody for networking. Thank you very much.
Thank you.